Yeah. Look at us getting better, bro. So we're live.
Yep, you're ripping.
So let's go with that. So Proctor family in Kaysville. Mm-hmm. What led you to that family?
Man, so
when you were 17?
Yeah. So I had just gotten out of a group home down in Tokerville, and it's supposed to be like a 6-month group home, but they have rules, and I didn't follow rules, so it took me like 17 months to get out of there. And then depending on like what your crimes are is like if you go to secure, which is like Mill Creek, Decker Lake. So I just had the one felony for possession with the intent to distribute. I had some weed and some scales. Them old metal ones that you
back when you were a kid.
Yeah, I was like 15, and
yeah, isn't that interesting? If you would have got caught with that nowadays as a kid, you probably wouldn't even get in trouble. Or did you have a lot of weed?
So I had about an ounce of weed, and then but it was the scales that made it a felony because that's possession with the intent to distribute. When you can weigh it and they can prove like you have scales in a drug, you're going to sell these drugs probably, right?
But do you think that would be fly today if a young kid got caught with scales and an ounce of weed?
The scales still make it a felony.
Really?
It's definitely less frowned upon, like with the dispensaries and cannabis cards, but you can't get a cannabis card till you're 21, so you're still breaking that law, right? Okay. And then like it's never legal federally, so there's still that law. It's a weird dynamic for sure, but
so is that the first time you got in trouble?
No.
Was when you got caught with?
So my first charge, I was 9, and I got a shoplifting ticket, and then it's weird because it all kind of just happened at 9, right? Like my first drug, my first drink.
How'd that look?
So my mom had a boyfriend, and he left a bottle of Jack Daniels out, and I took a big swig, and I remember thinking I needed to be in this bathtub, so I was like, I can't remember it exactly. It's a long time ago, but I remember I was drunk, and I went and laid down in this bathtub, and my brother's girlfriend came in the bathroom, and she saw me, and she thought it was cute to take me outside, and then shotgun, I hit a weed in my mouth, like blow it through her hand, or in my mouth from her mouth. So I got stoned and drunk the first day, and that time.
This is when you're 9.
When I was 9, yep, the same day. And
bro, I can see you as a 9-year-old kid. That makes me sad.
Me too.
Little 9-year-old.
Never had a chance, right?
So where'd that lead you?
Man, trouble. I had a lot of anger. Man, my mom's amazing, and she did the best she could, but she had a lot of relationships, a lot of men in and out of my life, and it caused me to have a lot of resentments towards authority and just anyone telling me anything.
Yeah.
And so I remember I got arrested again that year for vandalizing a front window of an RV. Me and one of my buddies would go throw rocks at every day. And then, man, this is just how karma works, right? I seen this kid, and I was like, hey, you want to go smash this window? And he's like, yeah. And when we got there, he started acting weird, and he left. It turns out his parents own that RV. So he went home, and, I was held accountable. And
so he didn't know you were going to his RV?
No. It made me mad, too, because I was like, if it wasn't his RV, would he have helped? But
yeah.
Yep.
And that's when you first got in trouble?
Yeah, I got in trouble a few times that year. Just remember fighting a lot, just being angry, right? Like my mom worked 2 jobs. We didn't have much money. I wasn't as cool.
You're right down here in Ogden.
So I lived in Roy then, but yeah Weber, Davis, back and forth. I was actually born in Reno, and then when I was like 1, I think we moved to California with my dad's mom for a couple of years. Then my mom left my dad and brought me to Utah. So I've been here since I was about 3.
Right.
But when I was 13, I got in trouble at junior high school. One of my friends had a gun that he stole from his brother, and we shot the windows. And it was nighttime. Nobody was there.
At the school?
At North Davis Junior High in Clearfield. And we shot out the windows, and somebody recognized us. And the next day, the school cop came, and my friend had the gun in the backpack in our locker. So we were kicked out of school. Well, my mom talked to the judge and said, look, can we pay a fine? I'll send him to live with his dad. So she sent me to California, to Mountain View, California. My dad, he worked out there for IBM, and I lived there for about a year, and then me and him moved to Colorado for about 2 years, and then I came back home when I was 15, and that's when I caught that felony and juvenile corrections. I was there for a few years, just in and out, and detention, O&A, wilderness, group homes, Proctor homes. I was actually...
Damn, this is all before 18.
Yes, yep.
What wilderness did you go to?
AYA.
Did you get gooned? Did you know what gooned is?
I'm not sure.
When they just come and steal you from your parents.
No, I was in detention.
Oh, you were in detention.
So they have like private ones like that where your parents can send you. They have group homes like that too, where your parents can pay for you to go.
Right.
But then like the ones, the Division of Youth Corrections, like you're sentenced by a judge and you have a 6-month review where like you'll go every 6 months and see the judge. And it didn't go too well, that wilderness. I remember it was 45 days and I didn't listen. You know what I mean? Like just little things that if I'd have done, my life would have been a lot easier. But I had a lot to prove to the world and to myself, and I did not listen at all.
Really?
No.
This
Horrible.
all like a lot of your life, just authority was hard to deal with for you.
It still is. It still is, absolutely. I just pick and choose today.
Yeah.
Like I can't fight every battle. It's too exhausting. And really the only person I'm fighting is myself. Like I know that my biggest battle is with the man in the mirror. And when I focus on myself, it just makes it easier to deal with others, right?
Yeah.
Like I just pick and choose, let a lot of stuff go today.
How old are you, bro?
I'm 38.
38.
Yep, I'll be 39 in August.
And what, you just got a couple months sober, right?
I think I have like 84 days today.
84 days. Mm-hmm. Wow. That's a big deal. You know, people don't realize how hard, what's the longest you've gone
This time.
But
this is like true sobriety, like honest.
Yeah, no weed, no trying to just
nothing.
justify anything, just sober.
Yeah, ibuprofen. I think I took some like cold pills things, but I try to read the boxes and make sure, you know what I mean? Because there's been times where like I drank cough syrup and my belly got warm and I was triggered, so I tried to stay away from all that stuff today. But when I left treatment 3 months ago, I cut my weed card up. I haven't had a drink, right? Like usually I'm an alcoholic for sure, so it starts with that because it's legal and just all these dumb thoughts. But
what with weed? What is your deal with weed? Have you always justified weed?
Absolutely, it's my DOC.
Weed is?
Yeah, for sure. I love it. I love how it smells. I love how it looks. I think that God made it and put it on this earth for us to have, right?
Yeah.
And it's beautiful, and dude, it's a cure-all. Like all that stuff you go get prescriptions for, marijuana's prescribed for, right? Like it alleviates so much anger, so much sadness, like all these things that I battle with. When I use marijuana, dude, it's instant, right?
Really? It just brings the kind mind into you?
Absolutely.
Like, so you're angry before you smoke it,
Yeah.
and then you go to smoke it, and it lightens you up?
Mm-hmm. For sure. Like even my family tell me that. They're like, dude, you're so chill. Like you laugh. That ball of tension in me is gone instantly.
So do you think that's something you're going to be get back in a relationship someday with?
Man, I think about it. I battle with it. Like I talk to my sponsor and my girl, and the problem is, bro, I can't do nothing like a gentleman substance wise.
Yeah, that's what I wonder. Like,
I can't,
because I wouldn't mind being in a relationship with it too, but I'm to the point where if anything causes my mood to drop. You know what I'm saying? So like any substance. So of course my mood's going to drop naturally, and I accept that. You know, but if I know this about myself, if I smoked or partied one or whatever, and the next day if I even just perceived that my mood dipped,
you want to run right back to that.
I would just say, now my drug of choice is at the gas station over here with the kratom, and I would go get it. And so I think I just can't do it.
No.
You know what I'm saying? And so I don't know where you at. Like,
Exactly there. Exactly right. Because it makes me feel good. And then the problem is I want to feel good all the time.
yeah.
And like, so me and my girlfriend were just talking about this because I got out of prison in October 22nd, I paroled. And I think I got about almost 5 months, like around 5 months. And this is my 8th parole, two in juvenile, 6 in prison as an adult. And my longest parole is 10 months. So like this
Longest parole. Explain that.
longest time out of prison.
Okay.
Since age 15, right? And it's like 4 months, 5 months, 3 months, 3 months, 10 months, 3 months, 3 months, this time 5 months. And I always think I need something, right? Like I run to the doctor. This time I ran right to the doctor. I had that doctor's appointment scheduled 2 days after I got out of prison, and I scheduled it a month before I got out of prison to ensure that I had that crutch, right? Because prescriptions are legal, and America's ran by Big Pharma, and they want you to be on prescriptions.
Yeah.
That's a normal thing in our country, right? And then I'm thinking, oh, well, I need this and I need this. And like I'm not an opiate user, but they say that like Suboxone helps with meth triggers. So I
Right.
really thought, if I get on this Suboxone, I won't be triggered by meth. And then, man, why not get a weed card, right? Like it's legal. I'm over 21, and then, man, let's throw some Adderall in there. Like that's gonna work out, right?
Man.
So,
And they gave you this?
bro, all of them.
Well, I guess you probably just beautiful talker to the.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, he's a cool doctor.
Yeah.
He is. He used to work at the prison, and I think they would rather give you that than you go and buy heroin or fentanyl
Right.
or meth, right?
Right.
Why not go to the doctor and get it for real?
So were you on subs when you first got out?
I was, but I didn't take them, right? Like I remember taking them like 2 times. And it made me sick, and it makes me angry. Like it's called box rage in prison, right? But man, it makes me angry. And but dude, them Adderalls, they got the best of me for sure,
Bro,
He give
I
me,
can't believe you got on Adderall.
He gave me 60, 20 milligrams a month, bro. And they were gone in 10 days. 10 days, right? And
Just lit your brain up right when you took it,
I
huh?
loved it too. I did, because that stimulant, right? But here's what's crazy is I do a lot of research. Anything I put in my body, I research, and I look this up, and it's called dextroamphetamine. And what impressed me, man, was there's like really good stuff about it. It's just I need somebody to be like, here's one, right? And I go back, here's one. Otherwise, I'll eat the whole bottle. And
Yeah.
But then my pride kicks in, and I'm like, well, I don't need you to micromanage. Like if that's the case, I just won't do it, right?
Yeah.
But I noticed I was doing things slow. I'm like, why am I going so slow? But I was getting things done. And in Buddhism, it's called monkey brain. And it's where you like jump from branch to branch to branch with your thoughts. But I noticed, bro, when I took that Adderall, dude, like I was on track. There was a lot of good stuff to it, but I abuse it. And then it led me back to drinking, right? Because I start to feel all like, so I need a drink. And for me, that's what it is. It always is, right? Like I love to drink.
I hear you. And the Adderall, nothing makes me crave another substance like Adderall.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so Adderall is what got me to become an opiate addict.
Yeah, you need pepper for the salt.
Because
It
I
makes sense.
hated the come down. I hated how I felt. I hated it. And I would go to great lengths to get opiates when I was on that. Like take massive risks for me, like hopping around to doctors, manipulating people, calling everybody in my family to see and telling them my back's hurt. Oh, my back's hurt. You guys got any pain pills? My back doesn't hurt at all. My brain hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the monkey brain thing's interesting. I would say for me, I don't really enjoy life sober. And this is hard to say on here, but I do like life sober if I got God as my drug. I said this all the time. When God's my drug and I'm living that way like him, I can do it. And it all makes sense. What me and you were doing, what we're all doing here with SOAR. If God's my drug, then it's cool. Like I like being in recovery.
When you said the difference between like the brain and like being sick, right? I was going to ask you, well, what about your soul, right?
Yeah.
And they take like in AA or NA, they talk a lot about we got this God-sized hole that we're trying to fill with everything but God.
Right.
And for me, man, when I'm right with him, everything else works, right? Like his will is perfect in every way. It's just I got to get outside of me and just align with that. And sometimes that's scary because you don't know what tomorrow looks like. You don't know what his will is all the time.
Right.
And that's where trust comes in. And that's what changed for me this time was like I really trust in my creator, right? And I've been battling with that a lot, right? With the difference between spirituality and religion.
Yeah, you were mentioning that. God, my advice to you on that, bro, it's for me too, because I'll do that too. I'll start thinking like, get resentful kind of at the church, or I'll be like, oh, the church is, I got to pay tithing. Or I'll kind of get into this thing, you see a lot on the social media if it's working for you now, you got 80 plus days. Like I suggest you do not change. I feel like that's the devil in your ear trying to get you away from. Have you ever read the Screw Tape Letters?
No.
Bro, it's by C.S. Lewis. Okay. And it's this demon writing a letter to another demon telling him how to tempt a person. You know what I'm saying?
Is it an older book?
Yeah.
Dude, I heard about this on a podcast recently,
bro,
actually. And he tells him exactly how he would do it. I think it's in court, actually. Like they take him to court.
Yeah,
the dude talks about it on his podcast.
Oh, it's unreal. It'd be it's right up your alley.
Yeah.
And but it's that, like, imagine like the devil really trying, like, okay, so he sees a guy like you, the devil. So like he doesn't got to worry about you when you're in prison, right? It's pretty when, you know, but now you've moved out. You've had all these experiences in prison, heroin, meth, theft, like, you know, 9 years old, getting taken out of reality. This life that you've lived has been unique. Mm-hmm. And when I say unique, bro, like, I mean that from like hard, from the bottom of my heart. I hope you don't take it wrong. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, so the devil wants you to stay there because if you get out of it, all those experiences now have purpose. Mm. You're like, and now you're useful. Like you're just even coming on here. Mm-hmm. You know, how many people are going to hear what you're saying on, you know?
Absolutely.
So you don't think that the devil's working hard on you to try to get you to go back into prison?
I do. And like, I have some friends at church or like my pastor, and they talk about how the brighter you shine, the harder he comes for you.
Yeah.
And
that's sick.
I had a rough couple of days, dude. I was sad. First I was mad. I was pissed, bro, because I'll sum this up, but it's a rabbit hole for sure. But so in the Ethiopian Christian Orthodox religion, there's 88 books in their Bible. In the Catholic Bible, there's 71. And in the King James Version, there's 66.
Right.
And I've recently looked into what these books say and what they're about. And they all coincide. They all line up. It's a deeper account, right? And ignorance is bliss. Without going into any of that, right? Because most people don't like to talk about God or politics. So, look, that's your business. And if you want to know, like, we can, but I try to stay away from it. But it messed me up. It messed me up, bro, because there's
digging into it.
Absolutely, right? Yeah. And that's how my brain works. I truly have an obsession of the mind and an allergy of the body in everything I do. I'm an alcoholic to the core, right? And that's what that means to me, an obsession of the mind and an allergy of the body. Wow. Right? One's too many and 1,000 is never enough. I'm an all or nothing type of guy. I don't half-step anything. But then I get mad because there's so many blind sheep in the world, right? And ignorance is bliss. And they're content, bro, just with their head down munching grass. And I need to learn that that's okay. That's okay, right?
Yeah, it is okay.
And I have to let them live their lives. And I don't like being manipulated. I don't like being lied to. And I especially don't like someone telling me what I have a right to and to not know. Knowledge is power, and no one can take that from me. And like, I'm a voracious learner. Like, I love it. I plan to go to school soon. I'm going to go to Weber State as soon as I'm done with IOP and my schedule lightens up a little bit. And but it messed me up, man, because like, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of control, a lot of manipulation. It's a business. Church is a business, point blank, period. Right? Like, my pastor makes 6 figures a year. Whose business is that? I shouldn't worry about that, right? He's a nice man. He's a good man. He baptized me, and he's my friend. And I can't get caught up in all that other stuff, right? So I like what you're saying. Like, don't let that pull me away. But here's what I've learned, bro. That spark of divinity within us, your soul, you are made of God and by God, right? In His image, and He's inside of you. He's inside of me. He's inside of every one of us. I don't need a church for that. I don't, right? Yeah. I do need a church for fellowship, for communion, to be around people. Because I'm not hardwired genetically to be alone. It's proven. You're supposed to be with a tribe, with your family, with a group of people.
Wow.
Right? And, man, I'm trying to get back to it. I haven't been in about a month.
Yeah.
And it saddens me because there's great people. And I just get so happy. Like, I love Jesus, right? Like, I scream Jesus Christ. I scream His name. And, He's the best man that ever walked this earth, I believe, wholeheartedly, right? But I believe there's other people that God put here, right? Mother Teresa, Buddha, the Prophet Muhammad, may peace be upon him. All of these people, I believe, were agents of God. And today I feel like I'm an instrument of God, right? He works through me with the people around me. And it's just, man, it's progress, not perfection. It's never battle, always a battle for me.
You're basically talking about all these people on the wall.
And
that's why I put that up. It's like all these people who created art that changed things, you know. I believe that too, that God works through all kinds of people to help create a better world, you know.
I just had this thought out of all those people, right? So I don't know if I met him. I didn't shake his hand or talk to him, but I seen Gordon B. Hinckley in person at a movie theater with we started talking about Proctor homes in the beginning, and I lived with this really nice LDS family named the Bradshaws. And how that works is when kids get out of juvenile corrections, the state of Utah places them with a family, and they get like, it's not much. They don't do it for the money, but it's like a $700 check per month per kid. I've been in another Proctor home where there was like 3 of us. Yeah. This one was in Kaysville, and I was the only kid. And they had a daughter that was in addiction, right? And like she'd figured her stuff out, so like they truly wanted to help. And man, they were just such great people. Well, the man's name was Jeff, and he worked for the church, and he worked for one of the quorum of the 72. I don't know if he's like a secretary or exactly what he did, but he got some tickets to The Work and the Glory, and we went and saw the movie, and Gordon B. Hinckley came, and it was crazy, right? Like everybody stood up, and everybody was all awed, and I didn't really know who he was, but I looked into him, and I started to listen to some of his speeches and stuff when they would do sacrament, and yeah, he was a great man.
When they would do like conference or something.
That's what it's called. Thank you. Yeah. Great man.
Dude, that's a book. I tell anybody to read. I tell Frank to read anyone. He's got a biography. Talk about a guy who's just a life of service, like toughest man, like worked, like unbelievable work ethic. If you read that book, it, not that you need to become Mormon or anything, just reading it by paying attention to an interesting man's life. Mm-hmm. That's one of the better books I've ever read. Another guy that's on the wall is that Neil A. Maxwell. He's another LDS guy that he was an apostle. He died of cancer, like I believe in like the early 2000s, but he's one of my favorite writers. But he speaks to the addict. Like I don't know, like his writings, I'd say he's the one who taught me about Christ. He writes all these like little books, like they're like 120 pages long, and they're just like, it's almost like you could just read a paragraph and then chew on it, like just think about it, like it's that type of reading. And they're not big page turners. It's more like reading the scripture, like it's deep, But yeah, bro, I want to know about prison, bro. You want to talk about that?
Absolutely.
So prison interests me. Mm-hmm. So how old were you when you first went in?
I was 18.
You were 18?
Yeah, I was 18. I actually terminated youth, like the Division of Youth Corrections sent me a juvenile corrections termination paper when I fished into prison. And I remember I was kind of sad just because like at 18 you're supposed to walk with your class and get your diploma, and I went to prison. So the first time I went to prison was for aggravated assault.
Yeah.
I'd been up for like 7 days on meth, and I take things too far, psychosis, and I beat this guy up and duct taped him and put him in the trunk of my car. And this girl had like a
So
plug.
You were in psychosis?
I was, absolutely.
18's the first time you went in there.
Mm-hmm. I think that I was out for like 4 months.
So go back to the part where you're talking about how you duct taped a dude. Like, so you weren't in your right mind.
No. A lack of sleep. Man, they say 24 hours of no sleep is equivalent to the legal drinking limit. That it's like 0.05 or 0.08. It inebriates you that much, right? And man, I'm weird. Like I like to hurt, and I'm a masochist sometimes about things. Obviously, all the tattoos and like the weightlifting. Like I love to hurt. I don't know, dude. It's the realest thing I feel. And so for me, the longer I stay up on meth, the funner it gets. Right, like day 2, day 3, my balance is gone. I'm dropping things. Day 4, day 5, my fingers get so dry that they crack open on the tips. I go to pick something up and bump my fingers, and I'm like, And
there's no sleep. Like you ain't even taking a nap. You're up 5 days in a row.
So here's what's crazy is, so I wear this chain. My sponsor gave me this medallion, and it says 7. And the name of my book is called 7 Days of Hell, a Meth Memoir, and it's about my 5 7-day meth runs. 5 times I've made it to day 7. Don't ask me why, but 5 times God rescued me. He didn't arrest me. He rescued me, right?
Right.
He rests me on day 7. And I find that really ironic because they say day 7 he rested. It's weird, right? 7's a godly, heavenly number. So it just trips me out, right? But
so each time you got incarcerated or that something happened on that 7th day?
Each time, bro. Some like just catastrophic event. And the first one was when I was 18, and I had a friend, and we had a disagreement. He was telling some lies, and somehow I got caught up in the drama. It involved a girl, and he said something that offended me, and I took it way too far, right? Like today, bro, if I have to fight, I try not to. Like that's the last option. Violence is not okay. But if I had to fight someone and like I slapped him and he was like, no, stop, I would stop. Like, bro, at 18, I wouldn't, right? And I beat him, man. And it's like I got him in the car and I took him back to my house and like I was ruthless, bro. Like I stomped his head, his ear was flapped off. I kicked in some of his teeth, and then I thought it was a good idea to duct tape him to this chair, and I left him there all night. And the next day, that girl was going to go to Las Vegas to meet with this Mexican dude and get some drugs. And man, for some reason, I thought it was a good idea to put him in the trunk of the car and take him for a car ride. And I let him out down by. It's called Enoch, and it's just outside of Cedar City.
I know where Enoch is.
They have these real nice like mountains, and there's like a Jeep crawl out there. Right. Well, what I forgot was I had met this dude in this group home down there, and we were on a mountain bike team together, and we used to ride in the Cedar City Summer Games down there, and he knew exactly where we were too, right? But I was so out of it, dude. I didn't process like he knew where we were going, just like I did, the same way, right? And so I let him out of the trunk. I beat him up again. I took his clothes and I left him in his underwear, and he stumbled to a nearby home, called the cops. So I was charged with aggravated kidnapping and aggravated assault, and they arrested me in El Paso, Texas. I was on my way to Austin. I got some family out there, and I figured it was best to just skedaddle on out of Utah. And I ran out of drugs, and I fell asleep. And they found me in the car. I had some money. I was going to get a hotel, and I needed a nap, and I fell asleep. And so they arrested me. I went to jail in El Paso for about a month, and then Utah brought me back. My mom got me a lawyer, bless her heart, and I got it down to 1 to 15. But I was charged with a 6 to life aggravated kidnapping and a 1 to 15 aggravated assault. And realistically, bro, I should have done the rest of my life in prison. I have a friend who did 24 years for a 15 to life aggravated kidnapping just because he wouldn't let somebody leave the house. Didn't even physically hurt them, right? And man, God's grace in my life.
Did you beat that dude up pretty bad?
Really bad.
Really?
Yeah, I had another friend that was with me, right? And I look back on that and I'm ashamed, dude. Like we 2-on-1'd him. Like he didn't even have a chance, right? And
just where's that? Do you know where that kid is today? Or?
I do, man. It's really cool. I got a chance to make amends with him in prison. This not the last time, but the time before. I had just quit my gang and I lived in it's called a modified non-active section. So we're all ex-gang members and none of us are active, so we all have to live together. And I looked through the window and I seen him, and he waved at me, and I waved back, and I asked the sergeant, I said, hey, man, would you take me over there so I could tell this dude I'm sorry? Well, he has what's called an administrative safety, so we can never be housed in the same section. The prison does that. And
really,
what was really cool was I held that against him. I could hear his name, or I'd talk to people in there, and I'd be like, "Oh, he's a check-in. He's this. He's that. He's a coward. Tell him come get some get back," and just ignorant stuff, right? And 'cause man, when I'm in there, I'm hurting, bro, and I'm angry, and I'm high. Like I don't stay sober. I will not stay sober in prison. I want to die every day I'm there, and hurt people, right? So,
wow.
And man, like it wasn't enough. I did all that to him, right? But then I smutted him. I tarnished his name, and then I got the paper, and it said it was an administrative safety, because you can grammar request all these records, right? Like everywhere you've lived, if you ask the cops to move you, if you have safeties on anyone, and then when you're a gang member, your gang makes you get this paperwork, right? You're held accountable to that code, that honor code, right? It's all smoke and mirrors, bro.
So when you got in there at 18, did you join a gang right off the bat?
So I actually joined like a neighborhood gang when I was like 15, and I went to prison like in that mentality, right? Like race didn't matter. I had Mexican homies, Asian homies, black homies. Like we were from the same neighborhood, and that's what mattered. And then so I did 4 years for that, and I got out at 22. I was out for 2.5 months, and I remember it was the recession. It was 2008. Unemployment was 10.2%. Yeah. But I didn't have no face tattoos in, and I still couldn't get a job. I remember I put in 100 applications in like 2 weeks, and I had 2 interviews, and wow. I did not get a job. So, you know what I mean? I revert to instant gratification, and it started with like a little burglary, and then that turned into some girl got involved. It's always a girl. Some girl got involved, and she's like, well, I can tell you where these people live, what they have, when they will and won't be home. It even went so far as to she'd call some dude and be like, hey, you want to go get sushi? And when they would go do that, I would know he wasn't there, and I'd rob his house. And wow, I got caught right over here in like West Haven, leaving the house with a car full of stuff. One of my friends was in the car with me. We both had guns, and I didn't know the guy was home, so when I knocked on the door, he went towards the back of the house, and when I checked the doorknob, he said he seen the doorknob jiggle, and he ran out the back door, jumped the fence, and hit across the street in a ditch in his underwear and called 911, right? And Rightly so, bro.
Did you know this guy?
I knew of him through that girl. And when she seen me come home, from these burglaries, her wheels got to spinning and and I think she had that bad boy infatuation, and she was a good girl. Like, she'd never done drugs and alcohol. She had a job on Hill Air Force Base, and so I was charged with that one. They charged me with aggravated burglary and possession of a firearm by a restricted person. So it was a 5 to life and a 1 to 15. And if you're on parole or probation in Weber County, the only plea agreement that they offer you is the new charge concurrent to the sentence you're already on. So I took 1 5 to life. I thought I'd do like 7, and because I'm on parole for a people crime already, right? I'm 22. I've only been out for 2.5 months for that aggravated assault.
Right.
They give me 10 years. So I did from 2009 to 2018, and towards the end of that sentence, my points kind of got lower, and I was able to go to a drug program, and I did it's called Dare to SOAR. And it's in Garfield County Jail, and it's a 1-year program. You live in the section. It's programming 24/7. And, man, I dug deep, right? And I realized I'm an alcoholic, and I have these character defects, and, I have all these, deep-rooted issues, thinking errors, things like that. And I began to work on myself. And
Wow.
I got out of prison that time. I made it 5 months. And I remember I stayed sober the first month or so. And then it just started with little things like gabapentin and alcohol, because I can pass my UAs, and they're legal, right? And there was a time when parole didn't really trip on you drinking. Like, my PO come by, there'd be beer in the fridge. He'd be like, "Don't drink and drive," and he'd leave, right? And man, that never worked for me, right? They give me enough rope that I hang myself every time, and so I ended up relapsing. I was high on meth, and I got caught shoplifting at Walmart, right? And dude, I had like $400 in my pocket, but I like to steal. Like, even today, I think about stealing, but it's cool because I can hear my girlfriend, right? "Babe, we don't steal."
Yeah.
And it's cool because I have these silent voices in my head of these good people that I keep close.
Yeah.
And that helps so much.
When you're in prison like that, how is there drugs in there? Like, tell me about that. And how is it all associated to gangs? And is there people selling it? And
Absolutely.
What's that? Is there like a little economy in there?
Oh yeah. It's like its own little world, and it's so crazy how people are just so infatuated with it. Like, they love it, right? Like, anything that's made in there is worth a lot of money out here. I don't get it. Like, it's a $4 skinny yarn on commissary, and this blanket sold for $1,000, or like a crumb bum picture some dude drew that I can do left-handed, right? And it sells for hundreds of dollars out here. Like, society is infatuated with prison. And that's the problem, bro, is America has built this conglomerate prison industry, right? And all these jobs that run out of there. They said if they took prison away from America, it would bankrupt our economy. Think about that for a minute.
Wow.
How many jobs are outsourced, right? Dude, I used to do a job that would have paid me $60,000 a year for 80 cents an hour in prison.
Wow.
Yes, sealing furniture with a lacquer gun, right? These are $1,000 pieces of furniture. And by the time I'm done with my part, I got $6. Dude, it's modern day slavery. The last time people wore this many shackles, slavery was legal in America. These are facts, I promise.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the number one drug in there is Suboxone, and it's because it's little and you can't smell it, right? And it packs a big punch for how little it is.
Well, yeah. So what? Dogs can't smell it? Is that what you're saying, or just anyone can't smell it?
It doesn't have an odor, whereas heroin, meth, weed, weed's rare in there because it stinks and it's bulky. And man, there's so many ways to get it in, bro. Like the number one is a contact visit. You kiss me and you spit it in my mouth. Your girlfriend comes in with 40 Suboxone strips packed in a little balloon. You get a mouth kiss at the beginning and a mouth kiss at the end, and you spit that in my mouth and I swallow it. And then I go back and I drink shampoo or a big cup of warm water, and it will float on the top of the water in my belly, and I'll make myself throw it up. Or you wait 3 to 4 days and you poop it out, right?
So you drink shampoo.
Mm-hmm. Well, the shampoo will make you poop quicker. It's a laxative, right? Like, the soap will go through you and you'll poop quicker. Usually, you just drink a big cup of warm water, you fill your belly up with that warm water, and that balloon will float on the top of the water. And then you gag yourself and you puke it up. But sometimes it's digested, those 2 hours, because you're in there drinking sodas and it digests, right?
Yeah.
So, man, I've snorted a lot of butt dope in prison. For real. You can smell it, right? You're like, oh, this is gross. But that's how bad it is, dude. Like, you don't care, right?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. Guards, dude. I've seen more guards than I can count that were on a payroll, right? Have your family meet him, give him $1,000.
Wow.
One of my friends manipulated one, and this dude was actually an addict himself. And he's like, look, I'll give you an ounce of meth and any escort you want. And man, this dude was bringing in packs, right?
Who the guard was?
Absolutely. It all came out on the news. I'm not telling on nobody here, right? Like, it was on the news, and this dude was fired. Some of my friends got indicted over it. Man, there's like a lot of loopholes, like little groundskeepers jobs where like your people will show up and, you know, drop a couple ounces of heroin, a couple ounces of meth outside. And this one guy's given a gate pass because his points get low and he's allowed to roam the grounds, right? He's up for parole. He doesn't have warrants. He's eligible to be out there and do that job without running away. So he tells somebody, they got a cell phone in the prison. They call their people, hey, drop it here. And this dude, you know, grabs it, and I'm not sure exactly like how he beats the strip search. Maybe he goes and puts it in his butt, right? Maybe he throws it over the fence in a blind spot. But dude, drugs run everything in there. Everything.
Wow. That is crazy. So it's easy to get high in there. Like every day, can you get high?
Every day. And the sad part is...
So is it kind of fun then?
So when I was young...
is that why people don't mind going back? I mean... You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's fun, but like...
No, it was.
If you were getting high all day and just...
Bro, it was fun until it wasn't. It's just like drugs and alcohol, right? Like in the beginning, it's fun. It's appealing. It's exciting.
Yeah.
Right? Bro, I knew I was going. I remember in like juvenile corrections, they'd be like, you know where you're going to go? I'm going to prison. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So I remember I got my heart broke by a girl when I was like 13. And dude, that was the worst pain I ever felt. And the thing was, I wasn't good enough. Like I wasn't, right? Like we come from poverty. She come from money, right? Like I have all these issues and she don't. Like the prettiest girl in school. And I remember when she told me she didn't love me, dude, it broke my heart. Yeah. There's no pain like heartache. None, dude. I'd take any pain over heartache. And I remember I had this thought, and my thought was, I'm going to be a gangster. That's all I wanted to be, bro, right? And I went hard at that, right? Like I got quartered into my neighborhood. I sold drugs. I had a good name. I lived by that code my whole life.
Yeah.
Like still to this day, bro, there's no documentation with me ever telling on anyone, ever, right? And I kept that because that's not right. It's not right to tell on someone to get out of some trouble. I made my bed. I'll lay in it. And like this last time I went back, AP&P come to my house. And
So you got out in 2018 and then you did one more stint?
Okay, so I got out 2018. That was the second time. I've been back to prison 4 times since 2018.
Oh, okay.
The first time was for 6 months for shoplifting. I got back out, went right to meth, right back to my addiction. I was out for 90 days. I went back again for shoplifting at the same Walmart. The same freaking Walmart, dude. But I didn't steal nothing that time. The girl that was with me did. And but I'm trespassed. I'm not even supposed to be there, right?
Yeah.
And dude, when I do meth, I don't care. Like I love to steal and get away with it, especially on meth, looking like I look. That's a thrill. That's like an addiction in itself, right? Like I'll steal right in front of you and you don't know. And so I did 16 months. I got out. I went to rehab. Did pretty good for a minute. Relapsed.
Who's putting you in rehab?
The state of Utah gave me an option to go to a halfway house or go to residential. Okay. And I got a friend that worked for Odyssey, and she got me into the Haven. And,
okay. That's cool.
I graduated the Haven. I killed it, bro.
Because they give you Medicaid, right?
Absolutely. So I get Medicaid for the first year. I actually get a special type of Medicaid called TAM, and it covers a lot more than just regular Medicaid. And that's how I was blessed enough to come to SOAR. Like my Medicaid covers all of that.
Yeah.
And there's so many resources available, bro. Like I get this thing called PATER, and it's like a $300 or $3,000 grant that's broken up. It's like $1,000 for medical, $800 for housing, $500 for work. They just bought me $250 for work clothes. They give me $40 a month in gas cards.
Yeah. So there's stuff in place that'll help you get back on your feet.
So much. But I ended up getting in a high-speed chase, and I went back, and then I got out, and this last time is when I went to the Haven. Not this time, but the time before. And then I came back to Utah. Well, I had started TRT, and I didn't understand how significant that is for men over 35,
right?
Especially for IV drug users and for addicts, right?
Yeah.
My hormones were off. So I got that going, dude, and I was good. I was the best me I'd ever been. Well, I came off the testosterone, and I moved back to Ogden.
Yeah.
And bro, that's a bad combination for me, right? And
dropped you in a hole a little bit.
Absolutely. I got depressed and I relapsed. And then once again, I got involved with a girl, and she showed me how to print money. And I found out money really does grow on trees. It does, right? No, it was all bad, dude. I was just running around.
What? You had a machine?
Dude, on a printer. Here's what's crazy, bro. Is there's only one printer that will print money. And it's a $38 printer at Walmart. You got these fancy $2,000 printers. They don't print money. They have a governor in them that locks them as soon as the money's scanned into it. There's one printer. It's a little Hewlett Packard, just crap $38 printer. It costs more to buy a new ink cartridge than the freaking printer, right? And it's the only one. It's weird, but so like you scan the 50 in, and then you wash a $1 bill. You just spray some degreaser on it, put it in the microwave, wash it. So that's real money. So when it's printed, the marker works on it. Problem is there's no strips. You can hold it up to the light, there's no strip in there. And you could do a 5 if you wanted, but the strip says what the bill is. It says 5, right? So like I've been in situations where like they hold it up and look, and phew, I'm out of there, right? And so I'm from Ogden, dude. I have no business cashing, breaking fake dollar bills.
So it looks real.
No, it is real, bro. It is real. It's a real $1 bill with a $50 bill printed on it. It's just not a $50 bill with a strip. So and look, dude, I'm terrible when I'm high, bro.
Yeah.
I'll manipulate everyone. So I pick these little kids that don't know what's going on, right? And I'll buy like a $3 item and give them a fake 50. They mark it with the marker. It's real. It's brown like it's supposed to be. They put it in the register. I get my $47 and I'm out of there.
Wonder how long that goes until someone sees it. Like, do they end up turning that into a bank, and then a bank just has it in there, and then it just keeps... You know what I'm saying?
I have so many amends that I don't even realize until these conversations. And I'm just thankful that today, bro, I get to practice a living amends, right? Like I pick up people's trash cans when they tip over. I take shopping carts back at stores. I almost said Walmart. I don't go there. I'm trespassed. No, I go to stores, but yeah, dude. And the point, like the reason I wanted to come on here was just to talk about that there's a solution, right?
Yeah.
And today I don't suffer from a spiritual sickness. I don't have a God-sized hole I'm trying to fill with everything but God, right? Like I know Him, I know His will, and I'm just so blessed, right? And I'm so thankful, bro, that I never have to go back there, right? And how'd you get out of the gang?
7
days, right? I was on a 7-day meth run in prison, and dude, who does that? First off, who wants to do meth in a controlled facility, right? And
does everybody know you're on meth?
Absolutely. The cops knew too, and so I hadn't been to work. I had a job in the furniture shop, and man, they love me, right? Like I've been tattooing my whole life, so it's like I'm really, really good, like like soft-handed things, like a touch, a delicate touch, or like painting or drawing or tattooing. And so they were having me do it was like a varnish, a lacquer on the furniture. So it's with a paint gun that runs off a 50-gallon barrel, and it's like it's got the hose, and it's not running paint, it's running varnish and just clear coat lacquer. So I would seal these pieces of furniture, and my boss loved me. The dude that I took his spot had cancer, and they needed to get him out of that seal booth. And I loved it, dude. And just my junkie got the best of me. Did a shot of meth, and dude, once I start, I don't want to stop.
So you're able to do like a syringe. You're doing an IV shot of meth.
Absolutely. So there's diabetics, and a lot of the times, like I had one friend, he had a handcuff key, so he would go into medical. They handcuff you to the bench, and they leave. Right? And so he'd undo the key and he'd start going through the drawers. And that was this dude's hustle, was he would sell syringes, like one at a time, right? $50 a syringe. One time SWAT come to shake our building down. I watched him flush like 31 syringes down the toilet, just like this. Just heartbroken, right? Because all my junkie dreams were going down the toilet with those syringes.
Wow.
And
where's the $50 coming from, though?
Oh, man. So I remember when I first went to prison, bro, it was either commissary or you cut a check. Right? Like, let's say you're my cousin or my brother, and you put $200 on my books. So I go and I get a money order and an envelope, and I fill out a money order to Tom Sanchez, and I put it in the mail, and the cops sign it, and the prison will cut a check once every 2 weeks, and it goes out, right? Or I'd order your commissary. Or for me...
Cut a check to who?
To Tom Sanchez, right? That's why I put his name on the
money order. Is that someone in the prison?
No, it's just to make up... a hypothetical name to like explain my point, right? You could put anyone's name on it.
But where's that? So how are they getting paid in the prison?
So the money's on my books.
Okay.
I fill out that money order. The prison cuts a check off my books and mails it to that person. So let's say it's your sister and you're selling me the drugs. I'll make that check out to your sister. We're both in prison.
Yeah.
The prison cuts the check with the money off my books and mails it to your sister's house. She gets the check and cashes the check. The money's on my books. They give you a paper every 2 weeks that says how much money you have on your books.
Yeah.
So I'll come to you and be like, hey, bro, let me get $200 worth of drugs. Here's my balance. You'll look at it and you'll say, okay. And really, dude, you know where I live. I'm 2 cells down. If I don't, you and your gang are going to come beat me up, right? Like stab people. Like,
So it's okay.
But that changed, right? Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. But that shit changed the game, right? You can't even get a front on drugs in prison no more. So I'm like, hey, let me get a 50. You're like, cool, here's my Cash App. So I'll go get on the phone, call my girl. I'm like, babe, Cash App this money real quick. She's like, hey, what's the Cash App? Tell her the name. She's like, is it the girl with the red dress? I'm like, yep. She's like, okay, it's done. Hang up the phone. I go say, hey, bro, it's done. He goes and gets on the phone, calls this girl, babe, is that Cash App there? Should be a invoice that says from Nick. Yep, it's there. Boom, comes back, hands me my $50 in dope, right? But dude, it's crazy how it works today. Yeah.
So it's easier today?
Yes and no. No, because sometimes like you can't get the Cash App or the Venmo, and you have to just sit there in misery, sick, mad, heartbroken.
They won't front it to you.
Whereas before there was a lot more fronts, right?
Right.
And the sad part is these dudes will let these dudes get thousands of dollars in debt. Thousands, bro. Like I seen one dude that owed like $7,000. They end up stabbing him. And man, art always got me anything I wanted in prison, right? Like I have a list of people, a line of people. Sometimes I tattoo 3 people a day in prison. And it's a cool hustle in there, right?
So you tatted people. You're a tattoo artist.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so I chose to step away from that though. This last couple paroles, just because, bro, it fuels my ego. And I've been tattooing since 2007. I started, and man, it was cool because it got me through a lot. Like it kept me out of my head. I love it when it's for the right reason. Like I'm in the middle of one of my girlfriend's forearm of Jesus right now, and
oh really?
Like I got a friend, he's probably my best friend today. His name's Landon, and I met him in rehab at Diamond Recovery, and so I'm doing one on his stomach, and it says
Landon and I know.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. That baffles me.
Love him.
That Landon is your best friend, bro.
Such a good dude.
Not because I just can't see you
so
and Landon
opposite,
together.
Right?
Yeah.
So opposite. I'll tell you about like that blessing here in just a sec. So it says fear in big, like old English letters, and then it's got hope. And they're just the lines, right? And then it's got hope in like a pretty cursive in solid black over the fear. So hope over fear.
Yeah.
But the fear is bigger and it's like more mean looking. And then the hope is prettier, but it's smaller, right? Because fear will trump hope most of the time.
Right.
But I love it when it's profound shit like that. Like,
yeah.
Like bro, even when your soul departs from your body, that tattoo's still going to be there. I create everlasting beauty. Yeah. Bro, I've made $225 an hour at a chair in a tattoo shop before.
You're good at it, huh?
It's probably the only thing I'm really, really good at, like career or trade wise.
What caused you to get them like all over your face and all over your body? You just did that become like an addiction? Like you liked it? And
dude, when I went to prison, like those are the dudes that I wanted to be. Right? Like I look at those guys and I'm like, man, I want to be a G. Like I want to be a gangster. I want to be like them dudes. Them dudes are tough. Them dudes are mean.
Yeah.
Them dudes are hardcore. And so I got sent to Max when I did that 10 years. And I got stuck in Max for like 5 years, 3 months, I think.
What does that mean?
So I came out of my cell 3 times a week for an hour and 15 minutes. On Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Or on Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday. Like one of the days was shut down. There was no movement. It was commissary day. It was like when they would take inmates out for request day. But no one came out for rec. So it was top tier, bottom tier. So like the top tier got Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. The bottom tier got Monday, Wednesday, Friday. No one came out Sunday, we'll say. So for 5 years, bro, I only left my cell for an hour and 15 minutes 3 times a week.
Bro, so what did you do in your cell that entire time? Like tell me, paint the picture of a day.
And I lost my mind and found it again, right?
Like really? Like, I mean,
absolutely.
Is there TV in there?
Absolutely.
Because I was going to say, like, if there wasn't, you really would lose your mind, wouldn't you?
Well, I've had TVs and turned them in. Like, here, take this, get it out of here, right? And then I just go hard at reading or working out or my art.
So, like, you'd work out. Yeah, did you have a little routine to help the day pass?
Oh, yeah. Everything's routine in there.
Lay that out, if you would.
Man, so I like to get on the graveyard shift there, right? Because I didn't have to see nobody. I didn't want to see none of them dudes, right? And it don't matter who they put in that cell with you. It could be my mom. And after a month, I want to body slam her.
Right.
I'm dead serious, right? Like you could be the best looking dude in the world. And after a month, I'm just thinking about how ugly you are. Like I would hang a blanket up on the bunk so I could sit on my bed and you could sit on your rolled up mattress. And
So you're in there with someone else?
Yeah, you had a cellie.
Oh, okay.
You had a cellie the whole time. And but I like that graveyard shift just because I didn't have to see any of the other inmates when they come out. And I remember I was real mad about that hour and 15 minutes. So I would take away everything that they could control, right? Like I would only go out to use that phone. I would shower out of my sink in my cell. You know what I mean? I would work out in my cell. I would come out to use that phone and that was it. I wasn't going to give them that. Like cool, you can have all that. But it was messed up, man, because the building I was in didn't have no windows. There wasn't a window in my cell. No sunlight, right?
Wow.
And then it's messed up because you regress socially. You regress vernacularly, right? Like you start sounding dumb. Like in prison, bro, every other word is the F word, and you know what I'm saying, or just those stupid filler words. And the problem is when you're around that all the time, you pick those things up. I remember one guy asked me, he's like, "You think you're smart because you use big words?" I said, "Absolutely." Absolutely, bro. If you don't use it, you lose it. And I try, right, to stimulate that. And like I got into college once down in Gunnison when I first went to prison, and no, it was the second time I went back. I remember I just started. I had like a math class, an English class, and some weird class. I can't remember exactly what it was. I was in college for like 2 weeks. I got in a fight and went to Max, and then I went to college. And there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with yourself, though. There really is. You have to follow the rules. Or I followed no rules. Most of my life, I never followed rules. I refused to conform. And but it's good when you get on different schedules with your cellie. So like I would stay up all night, he would stay up all day, right? And then just little weird things like when you have the floor. So if you get off your bed and you're in the walk space, I stay on my bed, right? That's respect. You don't fart when someone's eating. You don't flush the toilet when someone's eating. When people are speaking, you don't interrupt them.
So there's all these little rules in there, kind of like
definitely
like things you need to learn to survive.
For sure. There's only one language spoken there, bro, and it's violence. Absolutely.
Jeez, is it scary?
So I've only been scared 2 times of 2 men, and both of them were gang members, and both of them were from Ogden, and so I had stepped away from that neighborhood gang stuff, and I got involved in like politics, right? Like race. Because everything in there is based on race. And man, I'm ashamed of it today, bro, right? Because like I was really rude and ignorant, and like I still have one tattoo on the back of my head that I haven't covered. Like I've covered so many, bro. I covered one on the side, I covered one on my stomach. I don't see that one. It's behind me. And you know, I still like have a plan to start a GoFundMe page and get some donations, get some tattoo removal. You know, I'd like to get at least my forehead removed, the back of my head. But it doesn't really bother me today, right? Like it used to bother me.
When you're getting sober and becoming a bright man, like you're on the path of becoming just a bright man. Like, I mean, if you change your soul and your spirit, and keep on this path, like those tattoos might be helpful.
Yeah,
not the ones that are, you know, obviously the ones that are big race ones but like, I don't know, you know?
No, yeah.
I mean, when I first saw you, I was like, you know, you're kind of taken back. Now that I know you, bro, like you're my boy. Yeah. Like it's easy to like you. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing, and people are going to see that, but for sure, you know, I think when you walk into place with all the tats, it's going to, you know, people are going to look and be like, you know,
they do. Yeah, they do. My favorite's when I'm at the stoplight and I look over and they'll be staring at me, and like I'll catch them and they'll be like, right? Or, but bro, I've embraced it today. I embrace it, right? Like it used to bother me a lot. And one of my favorite rappers, man, he got a cool grill, and he's just a white trash dude from the trailer park, and I love him. Right?
Is it Jelly Roll? Or?
Nope, his name's FJ Outlaw, and he's just a big fat white dude from the trailer in Florida, and man, I love his grill, right? So I looked it up, like $300, bought me a grill, right? Yeah. So now when people stare at me, if I'm just sitting there normally, right, and they keep staring, I go, show them the grill. Like I run with it, right? If you don't like how I look, don't look at me. Yeah, for real, right? That's your loss, and I don't let that shit hold me back today. Yeah, and but it's been a long, hard, truly like digging deep road on that, right? Because dude, most of our lives we want to conform or like we want to impress people or like you say this a lot, like the actor, right?
Yeah, the actor.
And most of my life, bro, I've been acting a script, right? I follow a script. Like I need to be this, I need to be down, I need to sell drugs, I need to put in work, I need to impress my homies, right? And I always had that silent voice in the back of my head that was one of my big homies, like growing up in my neighborhood or in prison, like you have to fight, you can't tell, right? Like don't show weakness. Well, it's really cool that today the silent voices in my head are not those people. Right, like man, dude, Frank's my freaking life coach, bro. Yeah, I love Frank here, right? And he's just like so zen. I just referenced you, right, with the actor part from Frank. It's cool things like what's the price of your integrity? Yeah, like I hear Frank, bro, and I'm driving down the road and I hear Frank. You know, like I gotta go back and pay that $4 back. Like some lady tried to give me too much money at Starbucks the other day, and I was like, I went to put the money in my pocket, and then I heard my sponsor, right, do the next right thing.
Yeah.
I was like, man, you gave me too much money, man. And then I'm so messed up in the head. I'm thinking, well, she better give it to me for free now, and she didn't, right? And that's fine. That's fine.
That's that ego.
Yeah, I don't do that for that, right? But it's just cool, man. Like, and every day it gets better. Like these people in AA and you know, my friends in the fellowship, they tell me it just keeps getting better. It just keeps getting better.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how? It's the best it's ever been. But bro, every day it gets better. Every single day, right? Just all these cool little miracles that I see. And the fact that I'm sitting here having this conversation with you, that I'm about to graduate ILP, right?
Yeah.
Like my parole officer come to my house the other day. He took one step in my house, looked around, said, see ya, and left. He don't even UA me no more because I UA here and because I passed my UAs.
Yeah.
Right? There was a time, bro, when he'd sneak me. He wouldn't even tell me when I was supposed to check in. He'd just show up and he'd catch me. But dude, like, I want to tell you about him for a minute, bro. I got the coolest parole officer, and he's my friend, right?
Yeah.
And he's the only one in my whole life, bro, that intervened in time for me to get help. Like, usually they'd see me high, and they'd just be like, meh. They're just trying to do their little job, dot their T's and cross their I's. And they didn't care about me, right? But this dude seen I was high, and he said, listen, bro, we need you to get sober so I can help you, so I can work with you. And he let me go to treatment for a couple of weeks, and then I went and stayed at my sponsor's house for a couple of weeks. And, man, they let me go back to my mom's, right?
Yeah.
Like, I burnt that address so many times, getting arrested. And bro, even she told me I couldn't come back. She's like, nah, you got to go. Bro, my mom's never told me that in my whole life. And I think that was when, like, I seen her crying, and my girlfriend stood by me, you know, like I made her cry. I lied to her. She asked me if I was using. I was like, no, just my prescriptions. I'm sneaking drinks, shooting meth, you know what I mean? And like, I can't do anything, bro, because that's what it does to me. One's too many and 1,000's never enough.
What do you think, bro? You think you're done?
I'm not worried about that, right? I'm worried about today.
I like that.
Because look, today I woke up sober, and I'm gonna feel so good about this when we're done, right? Like, I'm gonna go to this gym, see about a gym membership. Like, I feel so good about today that I know that I got tomorrow coming.
Yeah, you know that you can stay sober today.
That's all I'm worried about, right?
Yeah.
Because when I start thinking about a year, a mortgage, a raise, getting off parole, I start getting overwhelmed, right? And
yeah, I guess the question, have you suffered enough?
Absolutely.
Like, have you suffered enough is a better way to ask that question.
well, I've suffered enough for 10 people.
Yeah.
Right. And the sad part is I did it to myself. I always have. Always have, bro, my whole life. The only person I've been fighting was me. Every time, dude, it's the man in the mirror. And it's heartbreaking, right? Because if we could just get out of our own way, you know what? I got some felonies and I got some tattoos, and I can't own guns, right?
Yeah.
How about I lost that right before I even had it? That's silly.
So
right?
you'll never be able to own a gun.
And that bothers me as an American because it says a
Yeah.
right. A right's not something they can take from you. It's something you're born with.
Right.
But somehow I lost that right, and
Yeah.
and I'm okay with that. But my point in all that, bro, is there's nothing I can't do. My girl ain't a felon. Trust and believe. When I get off parole, she will go and get a gun and a concealed weapons permit and learn how to shoot that gun because we're Americans and we have that right.
Yeah.
And I have that through her. But I keep these people around me, bro, that have these rights, right? Like I keep a good camp. It's like UFC,
Yeah.
right? You have a jiu-jitsu coach. You have a Muay Thai coach. You have a cut man. You have a
Yeah.
nutritionist, right? You have a manager. And I keep a good camp. I have a spiritual advisor. I have a Landon's my financial advisor.
Yeah. How's he doing?
I have
Good?
dude. He's one day behind me. So I got like 80s. I got this cool little app that
He's
tells
still
me.
down in Provo?
So he's between Utah County and his
Yeah.
parents' house in Layton, and but he went back to work.
Did he? He's a nurse, right?
He's absolutely nurse, dude.
He's a smart dude.
Brilliant.
I remember he was going and getting his degrees
He
and
has
stuff.
he has 2 degrees today.
Yeah.
82 days. He has 81. So he's one day behind me, and he was my roommate at Diamond Recovery, and dude, it was just so cool how
He's just a meek, quiet kid, quiet man.
Bro, how about I had him in the front yard the other day hitting boxing mitts with me.
Really?
Yeah, we play UFC online on the PlayStation. Like he's,
Yeah.
Matter of fact, Ricky's going to get us into this jiu-jitsu class with him. Like he's
Yeah.
coming out of that shell, bro.
Good for him,
I'm so
bro.
proud of him.
I am too.
But it was. I feel like I went there just to meet him. Like I mean that, right? Like
Yeah.
I
He's
needed
a good friend.
Oh, bro, the best of friend. Like I'm so blessed to have him in my life, and it's so weird, like you say, because like we're completely opposite.
Yeah.
And like he comes from a good family. Like he has a great career. He's been to college.
How about that last night when Brandon was like, I just don't know if I would ever talk to you. If it he was like meaning it from the best place of his heart. You know what I'm saying? Because it's true. You know, like
That's all I ask is be real.
Yeah.
I don't care if you like me, if you despise me,
Bro,
just be real.
Yeah, you're like the kindest. You know.
Oh.
I was telling my wife because my wife's like, "Who's that new guy in there?" And I was like, he's the coolest dude." Like,
Thank you.
Yeah, I
You
could
know-
tell like the first sentence that came out of your mouth. I was
Yeah.
like, that dude, just chill.
No.
Yeah.
That means a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Like, so did you ever have to get in like? I hate to keep bringing it about to prison, but I'm
it's okay.
freaking
Dude, it's so interesting.
so
Yeah, let's talk
interesting.
about it.
Do you have to fight a lot? In
A
there?
lot, bro. There's only one language spoken in prison, and it's violence.
So what? Isn't that scary?
Yes.
Because like you can
Yeah.
get hurt in there, can't? Because there's so much concrete. And
Yeah. Yeah,
there's
dude,
nothing to. You just hit your head or.
Bro, I seen one guy he died. This dude punched him in his head. I was in a different building, but like you all hear about what happens, right? And he punched him in the head and he fell down and he hit his head and he died. There's another kid actually that was here from Ogden. His name was Jeff Vigil, rest in peace. And he was Ogden Threse, and there was these two Crips, bro, and they jumped him and they stomped his head in the corner of the cell. And when the cops found him dead a couple hours later, his head was caved in like a triangle from where the walls and the floor met. His skull was shaped in a triangle, right? They stomped his head to death, bro. And he was a great kid. I know his mom. I know all of his family from here from Ogden. And
Vigils.
yeah. And,
I know some of them.
yeah, it was sad, bro. Sad. I was blessed. I'm smarter than the average person in there, and usually I can manipulate a situation. I'm really good at body language. Like I can tell how you're feeling without you speaking, right? And you just learn to avoid that stuff. Like
Really?
you tell that dude just got off the phone. He's mad. His girl didn't come to visiting. He's strung out. So give him some space. Don't push the line, right?
Like when you're in a gang, do you have to go do things?
Absolutely.
Like you got to do things when you're sign up to be in a gang.
Absolutely. So certain gangs are different. Like I'll use the Crips, for example. I actually really respect how they politic their gang because one man doesn't decide. They vote. Like they have a dude that's responsible, like their shot caller, so to say, right? He's responsible for he's in charge of the car. It's called a car, like your car. And but I like that, right? Because it's not a dictatorship, it's a democracy. Whereas with the white boys, it's a dictatorship. This is not a democracy. You follow orders at all times or else, right?
Yeah.
And you're taught that if you disagree, you put the work in, and afterwards you go take that issue up with that man, right? And something that I always liked was, regardless of how high or how low, anybody can ask for a head up, right? So like, let's say you have the keys and you're the big bro, and you tell me and him we have to go stab somebody, and I'm like, look, bro, I disagree. I will, just because I know the consequences if I don't, and I know what I signed up for. But afterwards, me and you got some shit to handle, right? And I can come back and I can tell you, come in this cell with me, and we're gonna fist fight. And then if I want round two, you have to honor that as well. No questions asked. You have to. There's no room for cowardice, right?
Wow.
But it's because that's the only language that's spoken in there, bro. I can't remember all the fist fights I've been in. I can't, right? And I was scared a lot of the time, but something that's really cool, bro, is it's always scarier than you think it's going to be. And afterwards, every time you're like, man, I don't even know why I was scared, right?
Why? What do you mean? Just because it's just not as you're.
No, you make it way worse in your head. And that's the worst part about being in there is it's all in your head. Like everything's in your head in there, right? Like
Really?
I got really into meditation for a little bit. I told you I lost my mind and found it again. And I remember during those 5 years in Max especially, that's hard because, dude, there's no windows. Like you get to go outside, but it's like a giant concrete box with like a fence on the lid. Like even outside ain't outside. And it's just sad, bro. Like it's so sad. Dude, the walls are painted these stupid pastel colors. They're like blue and green pastel. And that's psychology, right? Bright colors stimulate certain feelings. Pastels keep you calm. They're always pumping cold air out of the vents. They want to keep you cold. Because in the summer, the violence is far more extreme in prison because when it's hot, people are warm, like you get it more, right? Like you're just more active. And I remember one time, dude, I got stuck on this alien stuff, the Anunnaki and Zechariah Sitchin, and bro, half of one of my walls was covered in aluminum foil. So they give you these aluminum foil wrappers for your pancakes and your waffles, and on one side it's like wax paper, on the other side it's aluminum foil. Well, if you run it under the water in your sink, all that wax paper peels off, and you're left with a piece of aluminum foil. Some people stick it in the socket and like use a pencil and chip it to make fires. Some people smoke drugs off it. I made an aluminum hat and covered half my wall so the aliens couldn't see what was going down in there, right?
So this is when you're losing your mind from
Absolutely, bro. And like I go like weeks without talking to people. I go get on the phone. That was it. I was just angry, bro. Like I remember I had like 6 cellies in a row. I fought every one of them. As soon as they came in, let's get it. That's when the face tattoo started. Like it started with misery and agony above my eyebrows. I did it in the mirror. I don't know, bro. Like I was heartbroken. They gave me 10 years. I was back for like 9 months and my points were high. I got a bunch of write-ups. And when I was convicted of that 5 to life, my points went up even more and they sent me to max. And,
jeez.
It's just sad, bro.
And you just lose it. Like you just same things going on every day. You start just.
It's like Groundhog Day. You ever seen that with Bill Murray?
Yeah.
Dude, that's what it's like. I'm not playing. Like you wake up and look at the same stupid wall, turn on the same stupid 13-inch TV, watch the same stupid channels they give you, right? Jerry Springer, CSI. It's so stale, dude. So stale. Then you go to Gunnison, you get like two radio stations. Horrible, dude. Horrible. No way to live, bro.
And so you had to stay sober during the times you were in max?
No.
Really?
Mm-mm. Today, there's a lot more drugs in max than when I did that 5 years. This last time when I went back, I did my first 6 months in max. And max
you
is a lot.
Still get drugs even though you're not out.
It's flooded. It's flooded, bro.
Like how? Like so who brings them to you?
So, man, cops, the mail, you can soak a piece of paper in a Suboxone strip and mail it in. You can soak a piece of paper in some meth oil and mail it in, right? But usually there's one dude, right? And he gets it from a different side of the building, and that dude has 1,000 strips, right? Like, bro, you'd be amazed with the ingenuity in there. Like, they want something, they get it.
People just figuring it out, like.
Dude, that's all they're doing is sitting in there figuring it out, straight up, bro. Yeah. 24 hours a day, they're plotting on how to get what they want, and they're nasty manipulators. Nasty, bro. My favorite thing used to be to try to trick 2 dudes into fighting each other, right? Like they'd live in the cell above me, so I could hear everything that they did, and I'd wait for him to come out, and I'd be like, "Hey, man, you know that fool said you're a pussy. He said you're a coward, homie. He said he punked you the other day. Did he punk you?" And when they'd rack it, you'd hear him getting it right, and I loved that, bro. I love to pull strings. I should be a really bad person, man. I should be really angry and a good manipulator. And manipulation is not always bad. For real. Sometimes you can manipulate people into doing the work to grow.
Well, yeah, I think manipulation, the good side of manipulation becomes persuasion.
Yes.
I think persuasion's linked to God.
2 sides of the same coin, right?
Yeah. You're being persuasive. A good leader is persuasive.
Absolutely. Charisma.
You know, you get people to see your vision, you know. And so there's that. Yeah, you're right. That's so you take your manipulation side, but now you're God's guy, and you get those same talents that you have, but it's with God guy as your coach and letting you use your and persuasion becomes your mouthpiece. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
I agree. Man, that's heavy, bro. Like I couldn't imagine. I don't know if I would make it. I don't know if I would make it in there. I've never been to jail. You'd
be surprised, both of you, right? Like that's what people think.
But like, do you have like if I went into prison, would I have? Could I just? Would people leave me alone?
After a point, so I'm going to reference a really good book, and you can find this man on YouTube. His name's Damon West, and he has a book called "Be the Coffee Bean," and he's a good Christian man, and he got caught up in drugs. He played football for university, and state champion in Texas, quarterback. Went to college, hurt himself, got wrapped up in addiction, lost his identity. Right. So when he went to prison, his mom told him 2 things. They tried to give him life without for burglaries. You can't even do that. But that's how mad they were about all these burglaries he committed. His mom said two promises: you don't get no tattoos, and you don't join no hate-based gangs.
Actually, I think I read this book. Do you have another book?
Yeah. It's called "Be the Change Agent."
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
I have read that book, bro.
So, but he said when he got there, he met this old black dude in the county jail before he went, and the black dude told him, he said, "Listen, bro, you're gonna have 2 choices. You're gonna conform, or you're gonna fight." Straight up, right? And dude, you're a healthy white man, and they're gonna approach you, and they're gonna hand you a bag full of goodies, and they're gonna say, "Brother, we love you," and you're lost and you're broken, and you're gonna see their strength and their courage. Bro, they're great men. They're great men. I mean that. They'll die for you. It's just their code of conduct's distorted, right? They're hurt, so they're okay with hurting. And no one wants to face it, dude. It's not okay to be scared or to be sad.
So if I went in there and they presented me with that and I said, bro, I don't want to join a gang.
I think they'd leave you alone. I do, right? They'd ask you this. They'd say, okay, this is what we're going to ask of you. If any opportunity comes up, if you do drugs, if you do sell drugs, if you do have weapons, you arm us first. You come to us first. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's where like the appeal was for me was they were for the people. And they stand up for the people, right? Like there was a time, bro, when white people were ran over by Mexicans, by Polynesians, by blacks.
In
like,
the jails.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely, where we were bullied and we were taken advantage of. And these gangs, there's two. There's SAC and there's SAW. And they
Those are the two white gangs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, in our prison here, right? And they rose up, man. And like, look, I know ones that are great men that stand up for the people. Like even white sex offenders, bro. Other races ain't doing nothing to them. The whites do, right?
Yeah.
And like them dudes pay rent. They have to pay rent, right? And but bro, I've seen them stand up for just normal. They call them NACs, N-A-C, a non-active Caucasian. So a Caucasian is a derogatory term for a white man in prison. You call a white man a white boy or a wood or brother or like skin for like skinhead, right? But if you call a white man a Caucasian, it's a slight, right? Because you're Caucasian by birth. You're a white boy by choice. Right. Like you stand for certain things if you say that.
So if you went in there like and you didn't have and you wanted to be friends with like any race, like you didn't see color. You know, I went in there and didn't see color. I was like, bro, I'm cool with. I just want to be in here and get this over with, and I'm cool with. I go talk to a black dude. I go talk to a like that's fine.
There's different like depths of that. Like you're more than welcome to talk to anyone you want.
Yeah.
Right. Like you can shake his hand, you can hug him. I don't advise that you drink off his cup, right? I don't advise that you sit down at the table and eat off his spoon, right?
Yeah.
When we go to the chow hall, you sit with your people.
Really?
You can be friends with whoever you want. That chow hall shit's new too, bro. Like they just opened that new prison. I want to say like the 24th of July.
Yeah, because they moved it from the point of the mountain, right?
2024. So I was in Draper when we moved, and I was in Max. I was in UNF4, and you come out for 4 hours a day there. It was cool, right? That's not bad. 4 cells, 4 hours a day. That's not bad, right? Like I don't need more than 4 hours out of my cell. I use the phone, play some handball, work out, take a shower. And dude, it was crazy when we moved because they made you break all your stuff down. Like you got dudes that have been in prison for 20 years, right? And they have boxes and boxes of stuff, like all their worldly possessions. They're never going home. And they made you, it's called matrix. They break you down a matrix where they have a piece of paper that says you can have 4 pairs of underwear, 4 pairs of socks, 2 pairs of sweats, 2 pairs of shorts, 4 T-shirts, 2 bowls, 2 cups, 1 CD player, 1 MP3 player. Well, bro, these dudes have been collecting this shit for years. That's currency in there, right?
Yeah.
Dude's got a top ramen store where you come and say, hey, give me 2 and I'll give you 3 back. Dude's got just a regular store where you can get any item off commissary out of my room and you pay me 40 cents on the dollar. So for $1, you pay me $1.40 back on commissary this week, right?
Right.
Bro, these dudes, they couldn't take that with them when we moved. You couldn't take any food or any hygiene. But what was cool was the last week before we went, the prison came and gave us all $40 bags of commissary. Only time in my life they ever gave me something for free. And
Really?
but you had to pack all your stuff into one black box. It was about yay long by like yay wide and like yay thick. I'm talking about your TV, all your clothes, like all your stuff. They're cool little 13-inch flat screen TVs. They're like $200 on commissary, but that's a game changer. For to plug your headphones in and they have really cool channels. Like they show movies. They have like Nova, PBS. Do people tell me I'm smart quite often, bro? And it's just because I learned. Like I sat there and
read a lot,
bro. I read so much. I write. I haven't been writing lately, but I wrote a lot. People always tell me how nice my handwriting is. Well, every time you text, I wrote. Right.
Yeah.
That's why people don't write today. They don't. Like everything's a freaking emoji and a text message, and it's sad.
Yeah.
Right?
So
like
you read and wrote and got smart in there. I can tell. And you got those street smarts. Like you've got a lot to offer people. Mm-hmm. You just got to keep getting sober. Mm-hmm. You know, I talked because, you know, the big thing here, right? I say this on the here before, but let's say this is the way I think about it. But let's say me and you were sitting in a circle meeting with God before we came here. Just a circle meeting. And he says, all right, you're going to come down here and you're going to life's going to be hard. You're going to get wrapped up. You're going to have free agency. You're going to come out and down into this world, and you're going to get wrapped up in substances. And then you go through all this experience, all your experiences, hard experiences. And then you're stepping into the school of addiction recovery, right? You're not just in the school of addiction anymore, which would be active addiction. Mm-hmm. Now you're in the school of addiction recovery, and this is how SOAR. This is the SOAR brand. This is what we're doing. And now you've got your degrees in meth and heroin and theft and prison and everything, right? And that's a real degree. Yeah. Like, that's a better looking degree than the sales degree up at Weaver.
You can't buy that with money.
Yeah, it's not you're not going to, but like, pretty useful. Absolutely. Pretty useful, man. Absolutely. All that reading and all those hard experiences, and you basically work the repentance process. I like to call the 12 steps the repentance process. Yeah. Repentance isn't a popular word right nowadays, but like, it is a repentance process. Absolutely. So you work the 12 steps, you're making your amends, you're living amends, you're freaking sober, mm-hmm. You're coming on podcasts, you're serving people in the gym just by your example, and you step into this life and all that 9-year-old boy who got smoke blown into his mouth and drank Jack Daniels, it all makes sense. Do you like that?
Where I am today?
No, do you like that
that concept?
That concept.
I do. It's crazy because I had the same conversation with Cord one time, and he asked me, he's like, "Are you a God-fearing man?" I said, "Yep." He says, "What do you believe that before you came, he told you have a choice? Yeah. But when you get there, you're going to experience the most horrific depths of sorrow, pain, misery, agony. You're also going to experience the most majestic, ecstasy-filled pleasures and joys, right? Yeah. And bro, you can't have the good without the bad. You can't know the top if you ain't been at the bottom, right? Right. Hot, cold, on, off, yin, yang, salt, pepper. There's always another side of each coin, right? But I've been through some shit, man, straight up, right? Like I've had a lot of things happen in my life that sucked, right? But my life wouldn't be as great today if I hadn't have been through those. Yeah. Absolutely, bro. And I think I appreciate today way more than the normal person who hasn't had ups and downs. It's crazy because I found something on YouTube the other day. I was feeling real bad about, my current struggle with man and God. And I found this cool little video on YouTube, and it said, what if you chose everything before you came? So I'm intrigued, right? So I click on it, and the dude broke it down, dude. And it just gave me, that's what made me better. Like the last few days, bro, I've been better. And this is what made me better was it said, what if you knew every hardship you were going to face, every trial, every tribulation? And what if you took this knowing all of that, because that's what's going to make you, right? The soul hungers for development, for advancement, for perseverance, right?
Well, yeah, like how are you going to become like Christ? Christ went through everything. He sat there in the garden and bled from every pore, and you know what? So what you think that we're going to develop our character like his by not brushing up against unbelievable adversity? We're going to brush up against adversity. And I believe that too, bro. Like, I believe that we knew we were coming here. That's a doctrine that I believe, and that we made the choice. It talks about in Job, I can't remember where it's at, but where they sang and shouted for joy, to come to earth in the premortal spirits, and then a veil's placed over our minds, and then you're a little kid, innocent little kid, until you're not, until you hit 9 or those ages. And so everyone starts a little sooner when the world hits them. Yeah. My childhood wasn't like yours, bro. Like, at all. You've been through way more. You know what I'm saying? And had to deal with way more. But I think those hard experiences are gonna, if the catch is we have to stay sober. Yeah. That's the ultimate test. Like, and it's not even just staying sober, it's fixing our thinking errors.
So to me, that's just being in recovery, right?
Yeah.
Sobriety and recovery are very different.
Yeah.
I think Frank taught me this, but it's like a car. And each tire, might have been you. Did you guys gosh, I get so much, bro, that it's hard to keep it all in line. But every day I leave here learning something new, bro, for real. And I'll never forget the car analogy. And each tire represents a facet of my life, right? Spiritual, physical, mental, emotional.
Right.
Bro, my car ain't gonna run on 3 tires. It's just not, right? But that's recovery. It's being well-rounded. Dude, there's dry drunks. There's people that have 20 years of sobriety that are miserable.
And there's people who have never put a substance in their body, and they're not awake.
Absolutely.
You know, they're not awake to gratitude. They're not awake to the feelings of the spiritual. I think about Rick a lot. You know, Rick, Big Rick. That dude, he's like you. He's like Sherry, you know, these who have taken substance abuse to a different level. A level so far that it caused you to steal and take massive risks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the only way for like a guy like Rick, a guy like you, and a guy like me, anybody, I guess is what I'm saying, is to put God in their system and really gain a testimony of that. Mm-hmm. And that's what I appreciate about you and Rick. And did you hear Sherry last night? You know, everything she was saying. And, you know, I that's what I love about recovery, because you know, we really are. I don't feel good about walking around in this planet without God in my system, which means I need to act different out in the world. You know, I just do. If I don't, I'm going to put something in my system that's going to help me feel spiritual, whether it's kratom, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so I love that about this disease. It's really pushing us to turn our will and life back over to the care of God. And he wants everybody to do that. Yeah. Not just the substance abuser, don't you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely. He just wants what's best for you. Right? And I believe that's the purpose, regardless of what the creator looks like or what anyone calls him. Yeah. Right? Or her or it, for that matter.
Right.
You don't know.
Right.
You hope. I hope, right? Like, I'll never lose hope, bro. But regardless, I believe wholeheartedly with conviction that whatever it is that created me just wants me to be the best me I can be, right? And when you put substances in your body, you dull and numb your senses. You can't hear him. You can't see him. You can't feel him. Right. You can't, right? Like, you're blocking him. You have a divine spark within you that allows you to commune with him in one form or another. And when you get real spiritual and real right with him, dude, there's no high like a spiritual high.
Wow.
None, right? You made me think about something a minute ago, though. You said you do these, like addiction causes you to do these risky, like scary, crazy things like stealing. Bro, I was stealing way before I drank and did drugs. Yeah. And I realized that the first time I ever stole was at Walmart. Good old Walmart. God bless the Waltons. Linda Walton, I love you, and I'm so sorry. I stole a Ninja Turtle. I loved Ninja Turtles when I was little, dude. Ninja Turtles and wrestling was the coolest. And dude, he was a cool Ninja Turtle. Like, his shell opened and his arms went in, and he was like an action hero. And then he had like little flippers. And you could like swim him. And I was like, Mom, can I have this? And she's like, no, put that back. So I stuck it in the arm of my coat so it looked like I had a buff bicep. And I remember when I got home, I was like, man, what if she sees it? Dude, this is how bad, like, I've always been, dude. Like, I've just been a bad kid, bro. And I went out and I was like, oh, good thing you didn't buy it for me. And she's like, what are you talking about? I was like, remember how I wanted that turtle? And she's like, yeah, the one I told you no. And I was like, yeah, I already had it. I showed it to her, right?
I already had it. Okay.
And I stole it, and I lied to her, right? And
how old?
I was like 7.
Yeah.
I was like 7, and my whole life I've been like that, man. I do what I want, when I want, and I'll run over everybody. I'll burn your house down, I'll steal your car, and then I'll lie to your face about it. Like, I mean that, right? And I'm not that person today, dude, and that's so awesome, right? And man, like, dude, the 12 steps changed my life, bro, right? And I have no problems with the word repentance, right? I repent, dude. I'm sorry. What I dig about amends in the 12 steps, though, is when you make amends, you don't say I'm sorry. Yeah. You don't, right? Because how many times have you said I'm sorry? Yeah. And what does that mean? Words mean nothing. Actions mean everything. Right. Dude, you could be backing out of your driveway and run a little kid over, you know, God forbid, right? And then you go to court and the judge is like, life in prison. You're like, Your Honor, I didn't mean to. They don't care. They care what you did, not what you meant. Yeah. And so it's just so cool, bro. And I remember the first person I made amends to on that list was myself, right? My sponsor. And, you know, I'm a part of a thing called the Fix It group here in Ogden. And it's really cool because we do all 12 steps in 2 days. And, bro, that's the only way I could finish the steps, right? I'm not the guy that has a step a week in me, right? Come, you know, 1, 2, 3 shuffle, step 4, step 5, dude, spun out. crashed the car back in prison. So many times I try to do these steps, and thank God for my friend Heather. She brought it out here from California. It's called the Banning Group, and she did it out there, and she brought it to Ogden, dude. And it's so cool, bro. It's 8 hours Saturday and like 7 or 6 hours Sunday. We do steps 1 through 7 Saturday, and we do steps 8 through 12 Sunday. And you guys have been super cool. Like there's Saturdays I can't come because I go and do that.
Yeah.
You're super understanding. I got a graveyard shift job, and there's mornings when I'm tired Saturday morning, super understanding. Right? You guys work with me.
Yeah.
And I'm glad, bro. I've been to IOPs where like, you missed it, you're out.
Yeah.
Dude, how's that going to help? Right? But what was cool about that amends process is it's the Alano Club here in Ogden, and they took me in the bathroom, and my sponsor said, I want you to look in that black hole in the center of your eye and look as deep as you can. That's your soul, right? Look in there and tell yourself you're sorry and mean it, right? And they make you scream in the mirror, I'm sorry. There's like a cool little mantra that goes with it, like I love you and I forgive you. And that's the thing, bro, is I've just been ashamed, right? Like all them fights, all them crimes, dude, I felt bad for everyone.
Yeah.
Never have I been in a fight, dude, that I didn't feel bad about. Never have I hurt someone and I didn't feel bad. And that's how I know I'm a good person, right? And you guys said I was kind, dude. That meant so much. Like I'm writing my eulogy for Cord right now in the SOAR book, right?
Yeah.
And dude, that's all I want to be said about me, bro, was that Nick was a good person. And he was a kind man in a good heart,
Yeah.
right? I'm afraid, bro. I'm afraid that the scales aren't even. And when I get where we're going, there's going to be a picture of me on the wall. It's going to be like one of them Wild Wild West outlaw wanted posters. And I say, bro, you're not welcome.
Yeah.
Right? And look, I know Jesus said I'm forgiven. And I want to believe that. But, dude, the scales are not even. And there's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm not too worried about it because, dude, these little things pop up in my life where God will line up your amends. I was telling him I got pulled over the other day, and it was really cool because the officer that pulled me over was the officer that drove the car in a high-speed chase that I got in. Went to prison for that, right? And he would come up to the car. He's like, what's up, Nick? I was like, oh. Because my name's Joseph. On my license, it's Joseph Godfrey. Don't say Nick, right? And I'm like, oh. This ain't gonna be good. And he goes, do you remember me? And I'm like, well, can I ask you what I did wrong? And he's like, nope, you didn't do nothing wrong. This is a parole check. Step out of your car. I'm like, all right. Pats me down, searches my car, starts asking me questions, about like the gang and the people. And I'm like, bro, I'm not a part of none of that. He's like, for real? I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good. I left. I quit. I don't want to do with that. He's like, why? I said, dude, what man is going to have any chance at life being a part of a white supremacist gang in prison, right? Like I can't stay sober. I can't be happy. Like my heart's filled with hate and pain. Like I don't want that. And he's like, dude, that's awesome, right? So he's going through my car and he pulls out a 12 and 12 steps and 12 truths. And he's like, is this an AA book? I was like, absolutely, bro. I'm going, how cool is that, dude, that it ain't drugs or weapons and it's a freaking AA book, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, good job. Well, as he was leaving, it dawned on me that I owed him an apology, right? So I said, hey, man, hold on. I ran up and I said, listen, bro, I don't say I'm sorry, but I want to make amends to you, right? Like I put your life at risk that day. I did 120 miles per hour on Madison from 24th to 21st to evade getting arrested, right? To elude evasion's what it's called. But dude, I almost hit somebody. I did like 60 around a corner like freaking Ricky Bobby. I tell people I'm Nicky Bobby, distant relative of Ricky Bobby, right? And you just retarded stuff on meth, dude.
Yeah.
And, really, the dude in the car with me had drugs. That's why. And I told him, when he got in the car, I knew he had drugs. And I said, bro, I won't pull over. We will get away. And we did. But I'm easily identified. So like 6 days later, 8 gang task force came to my house and arrested me. And they gave me 16 months in prison for that. They gave me 10 months for the Class A. Once again, my mom got me an attorney. And I should have done 26 months for failure to stop the command of police officer signal. I played it down to a Class A. I got 10 months. Well, then the parole board gave me what's called a public safety, meaning that I'm a threat to the public. I'm a threat to society, right? And very much so I was that day, right? The cop could have died. I could have died. My passenger could have died. Any number of people I could have hit could have died. But what was really cool is I got to tell him, hey, bro, I'm not that person today, and I apologize for that, man. Like you have a wife, you have kids, you have a family to go home to, and I risked all that day because of a dumb decision, dude, and I just want you to know that I feel bad for that, and I'd like to make amends with you. And he smiled and he goes, he's actually a sergeant now. It's crazy, right? And he goes, you just stay sober and that's enough amends for me. He says, you keep doing you like you are, bro, and we're good. And he shook my hand and he left. I got in my car and smiled all the way home.
Yeah.
Right? Another one pulled me over the other day. I guess you have to stop at the sidewalk. I didn't know that. I didn't know the sidewalk's a stop sign. And it makes sense because the pedestrian has the right of way and that's their lane, right? The sidewalk.
What sidewalk? Okay.
Any sidewalk. When you leave a parking lot, you stop at the sidewalk. I didn't know that. You have to come to a full stop before you drive over any sidewalk
Okay.
in the state of Utah, right? Bro,
I didn't know that either.
I've only had a driver's license for like 2 months. I'm 38 and I just got that stuff, right? And
Really?
And so I'm still learning some of this. I got pulled over one time because I had a YouTube video playing and my phone was in the phone holder. I was just listening to the music, but that's a distraction. It's distracted driving. But all these cops, dude, they all know me and they're so happy that I'm doing good that they're like, bro, we're just gonna give you a warning. And it's just so cool, right? Because they all tell me, dude, you look good. Like you look healthy and happy. And
wow.
yeah, I
bro.
told them how many days I got sober. Dude, I was telling you about this. I just went to Mill Creek the other day. You guys helped line this up for me. And I spoke with, Darce. He was my football coach at Bonneville. I don't know if he's the director or if he's just, he's been there a long time though. And
You went to Bonneville.
I went to Bonneville, absolutely. When I lived with a Proctor family in 2005, played football there for a little bit, and that's how I know Darce. He was the defensive line coach.
Yeah.
Dude, it was so good to see him. I can't believe how fit he is, right? I was like, dang,
he
bro,
looks good.
Yeah, he's down like 200 pounds. Like he was a big boy, right?
Yeah.
Like 300 plus defensive lineman his whole life. And
Yeah.
but dude, it was so cool. Like we sat down and we talked, and it was funny because he's like, "Can you bring Hawk with you?" And at first I was like, I didn't know how to take that. Like, what, you think I'm incompetent? Like, I have all these crazy thoughts in my head, right? Like you don't want me to come by myself. And then, like, I think he saw that I was feeling, like why? Like, why ain't I good enough? And he goes, no. He goes, dude, I love Hawk. He goes, he's my friend.
Yeah.
And he told me about you guys' past, right? And, about that garage in South Ogden and War before SOAR. And
he helped me start it, bro. Like, I got a lot to owe Darce because when I first started War, bro, like it was hard. Like I wasn't bringing in any, like I had to provide for my family, figure that out. And he lined me up with these kids from JJS, bro, like, because he was working for the young kids. And they started, and they really couldn't pay, but like, I don't know. He helped me, bro. We went and visited this kid's house and told his family that he was going to come in and work with me at work. Just gave me good opportunities and connected me with a lot of people in JJS and spoke really highly of me, and really went hard and helped me get that thing going.
Yeah.
I have a lot to thank Darce to get to now that you're in this program. Darce, you don't realize the stuff people's doing for you, when you're, and I look back and that dude didn't have to do any of that for me.
no, he's a good man.
Like, yeah, he did a lot. And then his brother, Brad, he went to school with me and we were good buddies, and he came over and trained at War. Back in the day it was War, and it was like this little garage gym.
Mm-hmm. Landon was telling me about it.
Yeah, Landon used to go there, and it just had 2 big bay doors, and it was just a sick. I wish you guys could have seen it. It had a really way different than this place.
I love those gyms, like them little hole in the wall where you can smell the metal and the sweat. Like I love those gyms.
Yeah, it was like that, but it looked sick. It was branded real well. Everything in everything in this whole entire place is just baffling. How I think about it. Going in there last night and just all these people sitting in here, and we got all this. It's all organized, and there's drug testing, and now we're taking in, and it's gotten to this level where I really don't know how it's got here. Yeah, like, I mean, it's pretty powerful. I'm super thankful, for what's happened. It's like a dream. I mean, but what a grind. I mean, I got into education. Education has changed my life. I got into education in 2019, and that was when I had met Frank. It was interesting, me and Frank, and we started working with people, and then the education job kind of became an opportunity, and I felt like it was God teeing something up for me. Like, here, this is the right route I want you to go. And after prayer and then the big one was my wife. My wife's like, and I listen to my wife. I feel like God speaks through her to get to me. I'm just trapped in my head with pissed off feelings, and she sees, you know what I'm saying? She helps me. And so I took that job in education, and then Frank left Frank as the full-time guy here, basically kind of turned it over to Frank. Obviously I'm coming over here after work and working with people, but then really throwing my hands in the air to God, saying, "Bro, this is where I think you want me to go. Help Frank here, Frank." Frank's like, I don't know, 1 year sober, 2 years sober, not very long. I can't remember. Maybe a year sober.
Right.
And
that was about 5 years ago. She's got about 7 now, right?
Yeah. He's got about 7. So it was about 5 years ago. 2019, I think, is when we moved into this place over here. 2020.
I'd heard about you guys a couple times, right? And then
really,
my buddy Tazwell told me, you know Tazwell real well too, and that's crazy. I just met
Tazwell. So were you and Taz in prison together?
No. So I met Tazwell at AA. I met him at the Alano Club on Halloween. There was a dance, and I went with some sober friends, and he was standing outside, you know, all quiet by himself like he usually does, and I could just tell, I could tell he's been through.
I can't even see him going to an Alano Club dance.
He was there with a girl.
Really?
It's always a girl for him, right? Always. And I get it, me too. But so I started talking to him, man, and he's telling me about like Idaho and prison in Idaho, and like immediately we start talking about like gangs and politics and the white boy stuff, and it's just cool because, he stepped away from that. I stepped away from it, and we're both trying to be sober. And dude, me and him hit a lot of meetings them first few weeks of being friends. And like, I don't have social media. I don't have Facebook. I don't have Instagram. I don't have Messenger.
Yeah.
I do not, right? I refuse. It spins me out, and it's a very, very big distraction in my life.
Yeah.
Maybe someday, right? And I can see the appeal for business or your company or recovery, but dude, if you're supposed to be in my phone, it'll say your name with AA or SOAR next to it. If you look at my phone, there's family, there's AA, and there's SOAR. And that's all that's in my phone today, right? Or work. And, but man, me and him, dude, we just click, right? Like, I feel like God places unexplained people in your lives for reasons. And we went to a lot of meetings, bro. No lie, probably 7 a week minimum for the first month of hanging out. I've been to more meetings with Tazwell than anyone else in Ogden, and even my sponsor. And, he relapsed. He has his own struggles. I relapsed. I had my own struggles, and I had a relapse, bro. And my PO told me, like, you need to go do some classes. So I called SOAR, and I remember the first time I called, they were like, "No, we're full." I was like, "Well, freaking screw it, right? Like, whatever. I'm already in active use again, and I get the F. It's real bad, right? And I catastrophize and I condemn, and and I'm hurting, bro. I'm sad. I'm heartbroken, dude. Like I know my potential. I used to hate the word potential. Heard it my whole life. Hated it. Resented it.
Right.
Why? Why does that bother you? Well, because I know it's true, right? And I know I've only begun to scratch the surface of it. So, dude, I'm just sad, mad, I'm all these things, and man, thank God for my PO, bro. Like, I mean that, dude. Like I respect him so much, bro. He's the only one that ever helped me.
Yeah, that's dope. So you got a good relationship with your PO. Dude, that's very rare, isn't it?
Shakes my hand. It's the only time in my life. I've had probably 12 to 15 parole officers in my life, and he's the only one, bro. And he gave me this real good compliment last time I went and checked in. He said, "Bro, I respect you so much."
What's his name? Can you say it or no?
Yeah, absolutely. His name is Mike Arnold. And
Mike Arnold.
AP&P, Weber County, right? He's phenomenal. And what's crazy, bro, is his caseload was only sex offenders before me. So I was like, dang, is he going to trip on me? Because, like, that's a big division in this lifestyle, right?
Really?
Like, bro, I've beat up so many sex offenders in my life. Went, slapped them, took all their stuff, used to make them pay rent, like, for real, right?
They just get, so that's a true thing. The sex offenders get treated bad.
Absolutely. You hurt women and children, you're the worst of the worst, right?
Yeah.
And here's the truth, bro. The honest, uncut, raw truth is people in prison need something to feel better about themselves.
Yeah.
I had a cop ask me that one time. He said, "Godfrey, why do you think you're better than sex offenders?" I said, "Because I never sexually assaulted nobody." He goes, "So what are you in prison for?" And I told him about when I robbed that man's house. And he goes, "Hold on, dude. Like, think about this." He goes, "Every time something goes bump in the night, every time that man's cameras goes off, every time his phone beeps for sensors, every time someone knocks on his door and he don't know who it is, he's scarred for the rest of his life." And I really thought about that, bro. I went back to my cell and I really thought about that. And look, I violated that man's sanctuary. Your home is your safe place. And I forced my way in there, and I took everything I wanted, and I scared him. Right?
Was he in there when you did it, or is that the guy that went over the back?
That's the guy that went over the back. But I didn't know he was home. Like, I genuinely didn't think anyone was home. There was 2 dudes that lived there.
And he was scared.
Terrified, right? And then they took me, they put him in the back of the cop car, and they made me stand in front of the cop car, and they shined the lights in my face so he could ID me, right? And then every time I went to court, I would see him. And
he's just an old man?
No, he was about my age. So this girl knew him. She used to date him, and I was dating her. So what she would do is she would tell me, like, all these people that she knew where they lived, what they had, and when they wouldn't be home. And if she couldn't guarantee that they weren't home, she would con them into going on a date with her, well, I would rob their house, right? And what's crazy, bro, is I wasn't even doing meth. I was just drinking and smoking weed, right? And like I've committed my worst crimes, like not even doing the worst of drugs. Like I'm just, bro, my character defects are deep, right?
Yeah.
Deep. And man, I'm not that guy today, thankfully, and a lot of amends to make, but
I'm excited for you to start making your amends, like these next years and the spiritual experiences that are going to happen, and then you being able to tell me about the amends that you made. I think that's going to be powerful.
Yeah.
I've listened to Frank's. You know, he's had one where, you know, he robbed tools, you know, big old construction company, and he got in there and stole like $5,000 worth of tools and went and pawned them for heroin. And he had to go. He went to the company and had a check and was ready to make amends and talked to the guy, and the guy told him, I'm in recovery too. And then they both just had like a spiritual experience. And that dude's like, dude, just donate some money to a charity and just keep staying sober.
Wow.
But I'm excited for you, because you're going to have some big ones. Like, you're going to have some good spiritual experiences.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So I got one question for you
Yeah.
before we wrap up today. And I think about this a lot, right? Like I see your successes. They're all over the walls, right?
Yeah.
Like bro, everybody knows about your sports and your weightlifting and man, your degrees, right? Like you're a very successful man, right? So, and look, bro, you built this from the ground up, and I admire and respect that very much. But so what was it like, man? Like with the last relapse, and then like I know you had to step away from here for a little bit, right? Like how hard was that for your ego, for your confidence, for like all those things that you know you gained, right? And to pretty much not be welcome until you worked on you. Like you're always welcome, I imagine, bro. But like, man, what was that like,
bro? It was wild. Like, I don't know. I remember when Frank, you know, when you're in active use, you think, you know, you're lying to yourself so much. And I remember I came over here one day and Frank's like, dude, you've been doing this. Like, and he was real short with me, really, you know, and usually Frank's always carried really respect for me, you know, and you could just feel that I'd lost his trust. He didn't really want me there. You know, I remember him saying, he says, why should you even be, I asked for a bar. That's right. I asked for a bar to take out if I could, because I didn't dare, like I wanted a weightlifting bar to take to this other gym I was training at, because I really wasn't welcome anymore, and I could feel it. And he's like, no, I can't, I'm not, why should you be able to take anything out of this gym right now? And like, yeah. And then, I got banned from the gym for like 45 days.
From that gym or from here?
From here.
Okay.
So anyway, I got it. I did good. I went to rehab, or I didn't go to rehab. I went to just detox and did pretty good. Then I was able to come back in, and then I relapsed again, and came in here one day and yelled at, like, I don't know, just making a fuss, you know. I think I yelled at Frank and yelled at some, you know, just was lost. And then they had a board meeting, and then he sent me this letter, this contract of like, you can't come to the gym until you do this, this, and this. Basically, I think it was 3 months, you know, and he had tied it in with the board of directors, you know. So like now it's like,
yeah, you're locked out.
Yeah, and I'm taking off payroll. Lose my job basically. So that was wild. And then I went into detox. So I had started a new job over here at Northridge High School as a vice principal, and I was an active addict. I was wrapped up in those drinks, you know, doing 6 to 8, 10 a day. And the thing about Kratom is you can kind of keep your life going. Mm-hmm. Like, I've been worse off, like when I was doing Oxy and Roxy, like, you know, you can't, that's pretty, the Kratom's a pretty big lie, because it'll just kind of at least it tells you, you know, a lot of the part's financial. And anyway, I'm working at Northridge. I go into detox over Labor Day. I think, what's that first Monday on September? Is that Labor Day? I can't remember. There's a first Monday holiday over, I think it was Labor Day, but I went into detox for 4 days and came out. On my drive home from detox, I stopped at the gas station and just went right back on it. And so then I just called. Then I just went into the HR department at Davis School District and just told them that I need to go to rehab. And they were cool. Like, and then like I went and started getting sober and getting it out. And then I started thinking a little clearer. But it's amazing when you pull that substances out. Like, then it hurt. Then you're a mess. Like, I'd say the first 2 months, bro, like I still had some outbursts, like building out stuff. I had it in my mind that Frank and Cord and everybody they didn't want me around anymore, and they just wanted SOAR, and they were just trying to get rid of me. You know, I'd like build out that type of narrative, which isn't true.
No, they love you.
They love me. And my wife kept telling me that. My mom, I'd tell them, I'm like, those guys just, and like when I first started coming back here, so I'd finished treatment, and then I was allowed to start coming back here. It was like they didn't want me to do anything, you know? I mean, I went from the guy who's, you know, running most of the groups and being involved, and then now it was almost like I got the idea they're just like putting me in the corner, like, dude, just, you know. And so then I built resentments and scenarios out about that, which I'd get mad, and you know how you just, you know, and I'm working, and then about month 3, I started calming down in my head. It was almost like my hormones. I just kept letting God. I kept saying, God, just. And JT said something to me that was very helpful. You know JT. Mm-hmm. He says, dude, why can't you just enjoy what you've built? Why can't you just come over here and just now start enjoying what is going on here, and just
mindfulness. Yeah,
and help and you know, and I thought about that. I was like, he's right, dude. Like, I don't need. I constantly, I'm threatened hard by financial. Like, if I feel like my financial security is threatened, mm-hmm. like my back gets against the wall, and I feel I really want to fight that, you know, because starting this thing, I had lost my house. Mm-hmm. Like I went months without making car payments. Like, my credit went bad. Mm-hmm. So those early years of war, when I quit my job and started it.
That's such a cool name, war. Use it, war for war. I like that. Mm-hmm.
But you know, but I soon realized like that those guys had to do that. Neil, Frank, all these guys on the board, and everybody, because I wasn't waking up. You know, they had to kick me out. They had to, you know, they had to do that so that I could wake up and say, all right, I've suffered long enough. You know what I'm saying? And now I see that truth. Yeah. But my ego, dude, I fought hard. I mean, ask Frank, dude. I said some mean things to him. You know where you build out assumptions, and it's the wrong assumption.
Personalized,
absolutely. It's a narrative that you constructed that's off base, sure. But there's some little truths, but that person's not looking at it the same way, and you think they are because you're building out this mental movie. I was doing a lot of that with people, just mad because I felt like, oh, they took my gym from me. They can't. And then I'd be like, we'll see how long they can go without me, you know.
Ain't that crazy how it can't go on without us?
And then I realized, bro, like, that's the coolest part, is this thing can go on without me.
Oh, it will.
Absolutely, and that's what's the coolest thing about this whole thing is it's gotten to a point where I can come over here and enjoy it.
Right.
I don't have
to be a part of it.
I don't have to be the guy. I can use it.
Right.
You know, now I'm coming over here and I'm drug tested 3 days a week, you know, and I'm thankful.
Right.
Those drug tests, you know, and so I appreciate you asking that question, because it was good to talk about it. But because, yeah, bro, like, yeah, you have to be so careful in early recovery because of the stuff you might say.
How long have you been back?
So 6 months. I just got 6 months this week. 6 months sober.
So you've been back about 4?
Yep. 4 months.
So I've been here a little over 2.
Yeah.
And I've watched it change, right? Like
Yeah.
I remember when I first started coming, you were just in the corner like the rest of us,
Yeah.
right? And then I'd see your name on the UA board. And then
Yeah.
like, I'm trying to think of who it was, but someone said something about like, something about like steroids or something, right? And like you're always just, really, really adamant about like, listen, if you're a male and you have a prescription, like testosterone's one thing, right? But like anabols, things like that, dude, that's not healthy. And it's not, especially as addicts for us, right?
Yeah.
And like I've been there in the past and dude, it's not good. But like I knew, bro, that you've been through some things.
Yeah.
And then dude, like kratom, right? Like it blows me away, bro. I did it one time. This guy at work gave me some, and I took too much. I drank too much, and I threw up. And bro, this is the junkie in me. This is how my alcoholic brain works, right? Like I threatened to beat him up. I was like, dude, after work, I'm gonna smash you. Like I was so mad. And he goes, bro, I didn't tell you to take it all. And I was like, oh, yeah, he didn't, right? But I do all everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've seen you, bro. Like, and today, dude, the other day, you ran a whole group by yourself.
Yeah.
Like you're getting back there.
Yeah.
And I love that, right? You get to be a part of this. You don't have to.
Yeah.
Right. And dude, I imagine that's so hard, bro. Like I'd be like, I built this. Without me, and just to see how humble you are, right? Dude, you have a lot of accomplishments, bro. And you don't act like that. You don't. I love how you don't beat around the bush. Like every conversation I've ever heard you have with someone, dude, is like, it's driven to somewhere, right? Like how are you doing in your head? There's no small talk with you. Yeah. And I'm trying to learn to be more like that, where like I sum it up, get to the point. What's the point, right?
That's not working very good for me in education.
Well, I think
I gotta stop. Like, it's good with kids, but I'll get in meetings and stuff,
co-workers and stuff,
like meetings, and it's just like I can't understand. That's just all this around talk, and I just want to go right there. Like, dude, can we just go right here? We're talking about nothing right now.
Bro, is it weird for you? Are you like the only like addict in recovery?
Well, yeah.
Out of most of those people, they're just like squares, huh? Like
they just great people. The principal that I work with out there, dude, like I couldn't be with a better dude. Like the most religious, probably like that Proctor family.
Yeah.
Like he's from Kaysville, like LDS guy, and dude, like toughest dude I know mentally.
Right.
I mean, the people have it misconstrued. They think like the people who haven't been wrapped up in a substance are very tough because they competed against things. It's not just because they didn't. They still have those natural desires, but they just competed against it. Mm-hmm. You don't find out how. I think it was C.S. Lewis who said, "You don't find out the strength of the wind by going with it. You find out the strength of the wind and going against it."
I like that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I wish I would have said that. I wish I wouldn't have told you guys that it was C.S. Lewis.
Dude, so you know what's funny is I've been thinking about this. Like, I'm waiting on Darsh to call me back about a date to go to Mill Creek. I got to speak to the kids here, right? Like, I love motivational speakers. I got a couple, dude, that like are badass, right? Billy Allsbrooks. If you never heard him, look him up, dude. And that's where I got blessed and unstoppable. When people ask me, how are you? I tell them blessed and unstoppable, right? Trent Shelton, phenomenal, right? And but I'm learning it's the things you entertain, right?
Yeah.
Like your spare time, what do you spend it doing? Do you just go down the rabbit hole? Do you just listen to gangster rap, right? Like I try to get in, AA or an NA podcast, some motivational speakers, some stuff on God. I try every day. Sometimes I get stuck on some dumb from the trailer white trash rap and feel like I wasted an hour. But
or the reels, bro.
There you go. Shorts. Love shorts.
Me too. Shorts, YouTube.
They're so good. They're so good, but
and it's fun. Yeah,
no, it is. It is. And you see cool stuff, right? But I was thinking about what I wanted to say when I came on this.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I can remember now is I got this really cool quote that I try to live by, and it says, "From the ashes came the steel."
Yeah.
So think about how metal's made, right? It's an ore in the ground that no one even pays attention to. You drive over it, you walk over it, no one cares, right? And so they dig it up out of the ground, and it's just a piece of rock. How many times do you see rocks every day?
Yeah.
And then they take it and they put it in a furnace and they cook it to thousands of degrees, right? And then it's a ball of molten, like magma rock. Dude, thousands of degrees. You ever been cooked to thousands of degrees?
No.
Bro, I bet you have in your heart and in your soul and in your head, right? Not in the literal sense.
I like what you're saying.
But internal, right? Spiritually, mentally. Like we've been through some stuff. And so then they take it and they cool it and they pound it. And they heat it and they cool it and they pound it and they fold it and they heat it and they cool it and they pound it. And when it's done, bro, it's the most magnificent things that man has ever made. There's buildings that will stand for thousands of years, right? And we take that stuff for granted. I get in my car every day and start it, and I forget that process. So I just remind myself, from the ashes came the steel.
Yeah.
And dude, I'm tempered. I'm tempered, bro.
Yeah.
Like I came out the furnace. You know what I mean? And I'm better for it. And man, just there's a solution.
There's a doctrine in the church, or it's not. I mean, it's just it's a scripture, but it says endure to the end. You know, and a lot of people, I like that because it's really what it is. You know, competing with your demons and trying to be like Christ and being refined. You fail, you get back up, you try not to make the same mistake you made. You fail some more and you keep on pushing forward and you change. And that's that process you're talking about. But it's like lifetime, you know? And I look at this last relapse as I think the further I get along, I think it's going to be a good thing. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I would have created this podcast. I wouldn't have come up with the man in the back. The man in the back came out of that.
Where did you get that idea?
From just being so tired of being trapped in my head.
So you mean like the man in the back of the crowd or the man in the back of the room?
Okay, so
like
the
he
man
stands alone?
No, the man in the back is the man who decides to start observing his thoughts as someone else. So instead of attaching to every thought I have and letting it cause me to suffer and my emotions and the anger, I step back. I get anchored to breath. I separate. I create some space between me and those thoughts. I'm not, because we're not our thoughts. Why? How could we be our thoughts? Because we can change our thoughts. We can stop thinking. So if I stop thinking and I separate, and now I'm setting the firm intention to stay right here as the man in the back who observes them. So, okay, there's that narrative. Nah, I'm not going there. You know,
I like that.
You know, you're the man. You're basically, to sum it up, you're the observer of your thoughts now. Mindfulness.
Absolutely.
And instead, so that's what this is like.
Okay.
And that's what you're doing is, if you really think about it, is you're waking up.
But there's times when I have to take a physical step away from people, right? Like someone will get crazy with me, or they'll say something and I just want to snap, right? And I have to take a step back and I have to say the serenity prayer.
Yeah.
Right?
Man in the back.
Especially driving my car. Like, dude, I'm doing 5 miles over the speed limit in the left lane. It's 40. I'm doing 45. Why do you pull up on me so fast and aggressive? And then there's a car on the right that's barely ahead of me, but you want to shoot that gap, right? And my girlfriend's with me. You're putting our lives in jeopardy. How about I pull this car over and punch your face off?
Yeah.
Like, those are my thoughts, right? But I got this cool little air freshener that says "Be kind," right? Like, bro, I try to be kind. Like,
so how you would do that is you there it is. Give it a name. There's that anger.
Yep.
So, and then just sit there and say, and step back. You're not that dude.
No.
Get anchored to your breath. Listen, be a listener for some sounds.
feel the vibration of the car,
and
touch
just
those 5 senses.
And that'll help create some space in between it. And then you sit back there and be the poised man in the back.
Pull yourself back. Me and her have those conversations when we drive, or when I drive, right? And I'm like, I'm not going to get mad. I'm not. I don't understand. Like, why are you in such a hurry? That you're going to, dude, and it's rude. Like, you don't just run up on somebody and stop like 6 inches away in person. So why do you think you can do that in your car? And then all this is new to me, bro, right? Like, this is the first time in my life, like I said, I just got a driver's license. I have insurance, registration. Dude, I paid my car bill this month, right? Like, all that's, bro, I feel like this baby just stumbling around trying not to bump my head on the table.
You're waking up to the man in the back, bro.
It's cool. It's cool. I've always dug like Buddhism and mindfulness and like radical acceptance, and those are dope spiritual tools.
Well, think about Christ. Ultimate man in the back, bro.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't identify with any thoughts when he went into the desert. 40-day fast, dude. He kept space between the devil's temptations, and what did he say? I gave no heed to them, or something like that. But like, did Christ walk around with resentment? And he was fearless.
Yeah.
He walked around with no narrative going through his head. He was, even the night before he was getting ready to be crucified,
he washed Judas's feet the day before he betrayed him.
Yeah, like, dude,
how cool is that?
Yeah, he's present. He's the man in the back. So my thing is God's in the present moment. When you are the man in the back, you talked about how God's in us. You're receptive to hear the still small voice. Now you're open, and now the ego, which edges God out, you're keeping some distance in between you and the ego. You see it; it's always there, wanting to come through the back doors, but you stay the poised Nick and present, who now is able to use God as your drug. You know,
best drug I ever felt. For real, bro. When I'm on a spiritual high, dude, like no drugs better, no girls better. And that's what I love so much about my girlfriend, right? Like I knew her, but I made a point this time. I was like, when I get out of prison, dude, I'm going to meet a girl that's in a good place. Not necessarily like from a good family or like has money, but like she's figured her stuff out and she's a good place in life, right? And I'd actually met her once before. Somebody brought her to my house and we were all high and she was only there for a couple minutes and left. And then what's crazy is the dude she used to be with was the dude that was in my car on my high-speed chase, right?
Oh, really?
And so I've talked to her a few times. Like I get out, I see her on Facebook. She's at the Women's Retreat House. Go back. I get out, talk to her on Facebook. She's still at the Women's Retreat House. Go back. Get out, talk to her on Facebook. She's still at the Women's Retreat House, right? But she had like 2 years and 4 months right now. Sober. Wow. And dude, she's on the board.
You need to bring her by.
So she's been meaning to come. Like I'm trying to get her to come and do the workouts.
Just come over and say what's up and let me meet her.
She's working graveyards right now. She works at a women's treatment center in South Ogden. It's a really cool, like, holistic dual approach for sexual trauma and substance abuse for ladies.
Wow.
But she works graves there too, right? So, like, we're both on these graveyard shifts, and we're just trying to get acclimated to that. But she was going to come last week, and then I think she had a board meeting there or something, right? But she's going to come soon. I'm gonna make sure to bring her to meet Sherry before Sherry goes back to Alaska. Mel is actually going to go and do the Fix It group with her this month, right? Because Whitney does that with me. And but I seen her at a meeting, and then we started talking about Jesus, bro, right? And dude, I love to talk about him, right? Like I want to be like him. He's just, my favorite thing about him is you'll never see him get impatient. Yeah. How many times was he interrupted? All the time. And he never got impatient. Never. He was always kind, compassionate, and he always had time for you, right? And but so I was telling her about The Chosen. Bro, The Chosen saved my life, right? Like I have this tattoo on my face. It's Psalms 40:1-4, and it says, "I cried out to the Lord, and He heard my cry. He pulled me out of the muck and the mire. He placed my feet upon a firm foundation of stone, and I lead not unto the proud, right, but unto Him." And dude, just one day, like I cried out, bro, and he came. He came to me, and I've been saved ever since.
So has Christ not always been your higher power?
Oh man, so I found him probably like 4 or 5 years ago in prison. Just rock bottom, bro, broken, sad, and I found him and I felt him, and it was weird, dude. It was the first time in my life I didn't feel alone, and like I had resolve. Like I was on my way back to Max. I had just broke my hand, lost my parole date, right? Me and another guy, 2-on-1 this guy. It was sad because this guy picked a fight with him, but that guy was a dropout. And then the brother that I lived with was active, and the brother picked a fight with the dropout, and the dropout was beating him up. Well, that was my building. I was responsible for every brother in that building, and I couldn't let him lose that fight, or I'd have been in trouble, right? So we 2-on-1'd him, right? Broke my hand in 3 places. Couldn't wipe my butt, like couldn't draw, couldn't tattoo, dude. I had a habit. How am I going to support my habit if I can't tattoo in there? Just miserable. And then I'm locked in the room with him, and now I hate him because it's his fault. All this is his fault, right? I'm convinced.
Yeah.
Well, bro, I got down and I prayed, and I felt him, dude, and somehow I still forgot him, right?
Yeah.
Like many times my ego gets the best of me, and I forget him, and I'm just doing my best not to forget him this time, right? And as long as I keep him first. But so I started telling her about The Chosen. Bro, The Chosen saved me, dude, for real, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just so cool how they put it into like an understanding context. Bro, like you see Matthew's autism, right? And you see Peter's ego, and you see like John and his brother battle over like thunder and lightning.
Yeah.
Like we're this and we're that, right? And dude, Jesus is funny, right? Like he cracks jokes and he has a sense of humor, but it painted in a picture that I'd never seen.
And he just, did you ever see the one, I'm sure have you seen them all?
Yeah.
So you know the one where it just shows the apostles sitting there arguing. They're all arguing, and it's really shot interesting. Are
they in Peter's kitchen?
No, they're outside, and Christ is off healing people, lines of people, mm-hmm. And they were showing these guys arguing and just like about stupid things, and for a while, and the whole time I was like, why are they showing this? And then Christ comes walking up.
Goes right in his tent.
And he's exhausted, like exhausted. and he's like, hey, he's really kind to them all and just goes right into his tent. Like, and they all just sat there and they're like, what are we, and they came to an awareness, like, what are we doing? That dude just was going hard for people. We're over here being selfish. He was just, that was a big deal for me. That's the man in the back, like, you know what I mean? That the dude who just present with people and not gonna attach the BS of life that's gonna pull me away from Christ.
You know what one did it for me was the 3rd episode in the 1st season, and it's titled "Jesus Loves All the Little Children." Right, and right away I get panicked and worried because it's this little girl running around in the bushes. I'm like, oh, something's bad gonna happen to her. Right, because you remember, bro, like I spent most of my life in prison with weirdos and bad people.
Yeah. So
immediately, bro, like I'm weird about women and children. That's the only way you can get me outside of me is raise your voice around a woman or scare a child, and that animal's going to come out, right, every time.
Really?
That's not okay. And like even
is that tied back to your childhood? Maybe you got yelled at or
no? To be honest, bro, it comes from that gang life, right?
Really?
So, and that's a rule in like that white supremacy shit, dude. Is you don't hurt women and children. They're our future, right? They're the future of the world, bro. And look, they're kind and loving and don't hurt them. Like you want to intimidate someone or be a bully, like try that with me type stuff, right? And,
right.
But I can't control it, dude. Like I'll trip out. And but it's so cool. Like that episode, dude, it changed my life because if you remember at the end, he makes those toys for her and he leaves her a note. And he says, I know you're a smart girl and you can read. He says, and I didn't come for just the wealthy. Bro, and I just break down and cry every time. Because my whole life I've been poor. My whole life, bro, I've been not good enough because I didn't come from the right family or I lived on the wrong side of the tracks. Just white trash, bro, from the trailer park straight up. And today I'm okay with that. I don't care about money. I don't care about your car's nicer than mine, if your watch costs more than mine, how much your bank account is, because you ain't taking none of that with you.
Right.
Not a piece of it, right? And the things that I'm going to take with me, bro, will be hereafter. And but dude, just the fact that, look, he didn't come for the wealthy. He came for the lost. He came for the broken. He came for the sick, right? And all those things are me. And he'll tell you I left the 99 to find the one, bro, and all 3 of us are the one in this room, right?
Yeah.
Like we're more important than the 99 who had it figured out the whole time. And I just love that.
Yeah,
I love that so much. Absolutely. Yeah, he's phenomenal, man. I love him so much.
That's dope, bro.
Yeah.
You guys want to call it there?
What better way to end, right?
Yeah.
Than to give thanks to him.
Appreciate you doing this. I'm so thankful to have gotten to know you, bro.
Thank you.
Like I'm thankful for our friendship, and I just want you to know you got a place here.
Thank you.
Like you can create your art in here. You can keep working with you. Only thing you have to do is just keep staying sober and keep showing up.
Right.
And I know you'll stay sober if you just keep showing up.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know what your goals are in the gym, but like I could really, you know what I mean? When you get through this 90 days, and I can start really creating an individualized program for you based on your goals and what you want to do.
Oh, it's going to sound bad, but it's all ego, bro. I want 21s, right? Like I want to be a monster, bro. I mean that.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to be the buffest dude in the room, and I want everybody to just be like, wow, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's for the wrong reasons, bro, but it does something for me, right?
Yeah.
Like I feel good about it. I see the work and the results, and
well, yeah, but you just can't do that with steroids.
well, I think the nutrition, like I eat a lot of protein.
No, I'm saying you can do it.
Oh, right, yeah, no.
But you just wouldn't want to enhance.
No, I've been there, right? And today it's just a test, and I take some creatine, I take some protein, take some vitamins, but
yeah,
no, dude, I get consumed by that. Right? I'm an addict, so just the TRT.
No, I can, but it really will come from those big lifts though too, like we get your squat up.
Oh, it's gotten up so much since I've been here.
Yeah.
It's getting better for real. My legs are so pumped all the time when I leave here.
Yeah. Squat, you're dead. Really teach you how to power, get the clean.
I want you to teach me the clean. I seen that picture, bro, how you're holding that bar and then you come up from the squat. I've never done one of those. I want to do one.
That's a snatch. It's called the snatch, yeah.
Yeah, I want to do one.
Yeah, I can get you into that, bro.
That's like a shoulder press, and then you hold it and it's a squat, and that's dope.
So you know who else could be good in there too? That young kid,
Colby.
No, not Colby. I can't believe I cannot think of his name right now. New kid, Miguel's buddy.
Oh, B.
That's
my little partner. If you notice, we're always in there together.
I know you guys are training together.
He come and give me a hug. He's like, "You're my only workout partner." I love him so much.
So
bro.
that dude, You know, I've been watching him. He's a young kid.
Bro, he's like a baby Yoda.
He's a 22-year-old kid.
so wise.
And he moves well. Like, he moves well in there. And he's got that little stocky body. Like,
Yeah. I asked him if he played linebacker, right? He actually played safety at Bonneville, too. So I played free safety. He played strong safety. Not together or nothing, but...
That's crazy.
Yeah, I played
Did you
same
play
position.
for Budge?
I did.
Yeah,
So my grandma...
I played for Budge.
My grandma and Coach Budge are from the same ward before he passed, right? And dude, I went in there thinking I was going to get a spot because that's grandma's friend. And he didn't even start me as a senior because I missed my junior and sophomore years. And he was a good man. I'm glad they named that field after him.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a good... I love that dude. I played for him, too.
Who took his spot? Was it Matt?
I think so.
Matt was actually my
Matt Williams.
He was my youth in custody teacher. So I
was
had a
he?
little classroom in the back, and I had to stay back there and do packets. But
Really?
Matt's cool people, man. Yeah.
Yeah, Matt, and then Darce's brother is the coach now. You know
I think
that?
I met his brother. No.
Jance is his
No.
brother's name. Yeah.
Okay.
Good
thank you,
stuff,
man.
bro. Thank you, bro.
Appreciate it.
Good stuff.